All right, folks, we are giving away 5% of $2 million, or maybe $1 million. Maybe Nezzy Takes is actually going to take first place in Best Ball Mania 6. We're going to take a long, hard look at the leaderboard. We're going to talk about some of the lessons that we have learned from playing in Best Ball Mania 6 and just the overall Best Ball season. Soup's asking the hard questions. When does Underdog update the playoff pods? Look, man, you're going to get it on Thursday, and you're going to be happy to have gotten it by Thursday. That's how I stand. I'm here with a man who advanced almost the perfect number of teams, Nez. 27% advance rate, 41 teams. Not too many, right? You don't want 100. Dude, someone tweeted at me yesterday, make the money. Advanced 86 teams, Nez.
86. Well, I mean, that's going to be pretty easy to find, right? If you just look at the advanced leaders. Do you know who that is?
I mean, I assume he's got to be number King. One. No, it's this guy right here. Make the money. Can you imagine? Can you imagine what it would even be like looking at your page and knowing that you advanced 85 teams? Chris King, who is he's in the BR streets, right? Chris King.
Yeah,
I think I've seen his name a good bit. Our boy Pepper Prince, Dan Zach. He must have gotten deep in the Sims this year to advance 42% of his teams. But we're here, man. We're here. We made it. It's been a long time of drafting, and dude, I think I would have bit your hand off to have a literal dead even advance rate after what happened last year, Nez.
Yeah. I mean, I feel really good about where I'm at right now, but it is still so early. And I mean, I feel like most people, when you look at your advancing teams, at least when I do, I'm like, man, like, how is this team gonna do it? I just
haven't even started looking.
Yeah,
I was gonna save it for this. I was gonna save it for this. I thought that would be good. We could look at some of our best teams and just see what's out there.
Yeah, I definitely don't have any like favorites per se, but like I don't like getting my hopes up, and I'm well aware of how unforgiving these next 2 weeks can be. So I'm just trying to run good. Just trying to run good one time and see what happens. But obviously thrilled to be where I'm at so far. I've never had this good of a regular season in Best Ball.
I was going to say I wouldn't
for a while.
I was going to say I would not consider you an advance rate bro. Like I wouldn't consider you someone who's like, dude, I really got to make sure to get Justice Hill on this team so that I have 8 points in week 5 or whatever. That's not how I would categorize your drafting style.
Well, it typically wasn't, but I did draft way more like a boomer this year. So like
just more running backs. Or structure-wise.
Yep. Yeah, more running backs. If you look at my like Best Ball Explorer, you'll see the heavier concentrated picks are on the early running backs. So that was something that I think paid off really well. So far, like I've got obviously like the Jalen Warren, Jonathan Taylor in there. I've got I had a lot of Josh Jacobs, just running backs in general, man. I was just like, man, these are like, I think I can just figure this out later. So I kind of barbelled it and then took some late round running backs as well. So that's where the Rico Dowdle hit really, paid off, obviously.
Dude, Rico, man, that's going to be a big one. And he's not dead this week.
He's hanging on by a thread.
Well, I mean, I think that we should just let's not bury the lead here. Jonathan Taylor, I mean, is there anyone 48.8% advance rate? So the way the math breaks down is if there's 662,672 total teams, that means that there are 56,056 total opportunities to have selected Jonathan Taylor. Knowing nothing else about the team, 48.8% of those teams advanced, knowing absolutely nothing else on the number 1, the number 2, the number 5, the number 6, the number 7, the number 9, and the number 10 overall teams in Best Ball Mania. I have not looked at any projections yet this week. Adam is not done doing them around the Sims. Leone and Co have not posted over on the Solver yet. What's your guess for the standard deviation difference between Jonathan Taylor's projection this week versus what his projection has been for the rest of the season. On the road at the Seattle Seahawks, Phillip fucking Rivers might be starting at quarterback for the Colts. My guess, 14.2 dog at points is my Leone.com guess.
That's I'm gonna, I don't know. I'm gonna say that's bullish. I'm gonna say that's
You
bullish.
think 14 points is bullish?
Yeah, dude. I mean, what is their team total here?
That's what I'm gonna go pull up right now.
It's
Their team total is, if I click on it, where's their team total? Oh my fucking God. It's 14 and a half points.
14 and a half. And you think and think about it, right? How are they scoring those points? Probably through the air. They're probably going to be passing a lot. So what you hope for is that, like, I guess what could be baked in and saving it is we get checkdowns to Jonathan Taylor. Oh, dude,
this 17.5, this 17.5 that is showing, I would guess that no one at Run the Sims has done any back end like adjustments to make them less efficient as an offense or anything without Daniel. Like, I would guess this is basically just Daniel Jones' offense ported over with a 14.5 point team total. So room for 17.5 to be adjusted down.
Yeah, like I would put it at 13. I think, right? You're talking. There maybe a touchdown. You bank in like half a touchdown. Like, I think, and I even think that's like a lot to ask. This is going to be really bad. This is just so classic best ball, is it not? Why does this happen every single season? Why is the best regular season pick the worst player to possibly have in the playoffs? It's just such a silly game. But yeah, it'll take care of itself though after this week.
Well, Nez, what people are saying is that it's actually been fated and written in the stars that last year Barkley was the guy you needed in the regular season. He sucked in the fantasy football playoffs. Jonathan Taylor was the guy you needed. This year, Saquon Barkley sucked in the regular season. The guy you need in the fantasy football playoffs. I believe the Eagles, I know, have an unreal postseason schedule. The Eagles get to go home to the Raiders, road to the Commies, then road to the Bills.
That's nuts.
Like the Bills are a good team, but an awful run defense.
You run on the Bills. That's ideally what you do. And hey, Sirianni, he's not calling the plays, but he's more involved with the play calling. We saw an outside run with Saquon, and what did he do? He housed it. So
yeah, I think I gotta. I mean, let's keep it real, dude. Like, he had one good carry in that. No, that's not true. He had consecutive like 15-yard runs in the second quarter, I think. But I mean, his success rate and
that's the story of Saquon, though.
Let's just be all real, dude. Can we just all be adults on this stream? Like, he's not Derrick Henry washed, but like, if he was in the oven, if he was a baked good or like a turkey in the oven, you'd be like, well, I'm going to leave it in 5 more minutes because I'm afraid of salmonella, but like, we could eat it now, level of cooked. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think we could just all be honest about it, right?
I feel like it would actually be like overcooked. Like, yeah, we're gonna eat this, but it is a little.
We're gonna eat this, but it's a little dry. It's a little dry. That's how my wife likes all meat to be prepared. She's like, it's all got to be overcooked. She's like, I'm not eating undercooked meat.
No, I feel that's how my in-laws are. But the whole point, man, is that I think regardless of the level of cook Saquon is, this is just like the nutted fantasy playoff run out.
For sure.
And I don't know about you, man. I think I have one Saquon Barkley team.
I
drafted a lot.
I have not looked. You know, it's so funny, Nez. I haven't even highlighted my stuff yet on the stream. I advanced basically the exact number you would have expected based on how I was drafting. I drafted 8.3% of every player, and I advanced 16% of my 16%. So I must have at some here. Here we go. What's my bad? I ran bad in here somewhere. Lost the team by 4 points. So I was pretty close to exactly 16.7%. I have no idea how much Barkley I have. Let's find out. Saquon Barkley on advancing teams, none. Okay, so I'm officially rooting against this guy. Officially, my position is I hope that Saquon Barkley does bad in the fantasy football playoffs.
I need to check overall. I never actually did this. He's advancing on somehow 13% of teams are taking Saquon Barkley along with them.
That's interesting. Yeah. 13%. So why, I guess if you think about it, well, I guess the reason why he would have had a bad advance rate is he would have been paired quite a bit with bad picks in the second round and not Jonathan Taylor. He didn't exactly line up with Jonathan Taylor. And he also was not good, right?
Right. Well, I think that's. I thought there would be like single digit. You know, I mean, for 16%.
Oh, you thought 13. You thought 13 was high.
I did. I didn't think he was.
So think about how bad so many of the first round picks were. It's almost maybe kind of like an all time year for poor first round picks. Like this was like an all time bad first round because in terms of like stone bus, we have CeeDee Lamb with a 17% advance rate. But if you nuke Jonathan Taylor and you nuke George Pickens out of there, he goes to I bet it's, single digit, 8% if it doesn't have Jonathan Taylor or George Pickens. Then you've got Brian Thomas Jr. I believe our man Chess Liam tweeted this. It's the lowest advance rate of any player who like was a reasonable pick, like a guy who was 100%.
He did the
drafted.
work.
Yeah. 4% on Brian Thomas Jr.
Yeah, you kind of got to be feeling good about that because the Jags, I feel like the Jags are ascending right now. I mean, Brian Thomas maybe won't ever have a good game, but I mean, that's the whole point of this, right? Is like maybe not the whole point, but like part of the, you know, what you're looking for here is like the low advancing players, obviously. So you have Brian Thomas, and you got to be feeling great about it. But yeah, 4% is insane.
Are you feeling great about it because he's just been like thoroughly cucked by Jacoby Myers?
Yeah, maybe not. Right, like here's
a guy, a negative advance rate player you would feel good about. Nico Collins is gonna, I'm guessing, 8.1%. You are feeling good about Nico Collins advancing, right?
Yeah,
you have to, because he like actually has generated a ceiling recently. I mean, he just had like 110 yards against the Chiefs.
He smoked him.
But
Dude, he looks great. I love the Texans right now, just on a overarching point. But
no, fuck the Texans. Fuck the Texans. Fuck the Chargers. Fuck the Colts. But yes.
The one thing that I am excited about is I only have one Saquon team, but it does have Lamar. Not that Lamar is anything to write home about.
So I was hoping we'd get that. Lamar, I actually think you do feel good about because he finally looked like his body could play football last week. Like he didn't look like he couldn't move last week.
Yeah, so that's a pretty interesting player to have too, because his advance rates, I believe, are like not terrible, but no, they are bad. They are pretty bad. They're 8%.
Yeah, Neighbors 4% advance rate. Justin Jefferson, my God, what's the
this has to be
going to be?
Putrid,
Justin
right?
And probably only because he did line up with Jonathan Taylor. So if you exclude Jonathan Taylor, 5.1% for a man who was not injured. No injury.
Wow.
None. Can you imagine, dude? I mean, that is so crazy. Neighbors with a higher advance rate than Brian Thomas Jr. That's how bad. That's how bad it was. And there are even some combinatorial guys you would have wanted with BTJ. Like Trevor Lawrence has been a good advance rate pick. ETN has been a huge advance rate pick. I guess Travis Hunter. Okay. What's our guess on the Travis Hunter advance rate?
I'm gonna say like 10%. Because he was late enough that you could probably like survive it.
11%. Okay. Now this is always. Do you know about the slappy drafter theorem with guys like this?
Like, tell me.
Okay. Well, I'll be able to demonstrate. So Travis Hunter is on 56,000 teams.
Yeah.
Travis Hunter and Javonte Williams are combined on only 3,484 teams. So that would obviously be lower than a random sample because it's less than 8%. If I search for Jaden Blue, we are going to get to 5,026 teams. So above a random sampling of teams.
That's incredible.
I'll tell you, if we're going to start talking about lessons that we have learned this season, basically the easiest way, if you really care about these things, and I'm not even convinced that you should, but if you're like, I'd like to get unique teams into the advancement rounds, but I'd like to do it without sacrificing projection. So like, I'd like to do it without pulling Jonathan Taylor up to the 1-2 turn, or I'd like to do it without pulling JSN up to the 2-3 turn. Obviously, these would have been good picks this year, but just explaining. So if you're like, okay, I have Travis Hunter on a team, I'm going to take a boomer pick here. I'm going to take, I don't know, Travis, who's a good boomer? I'm going to do an Aaron Rodgers, DK Metcalf stack when I have Travis Hunter, or I'm going to take Mike Evans when I have Travis Hunter. And then when I take James Conner, I'm also going to take Jaden Blue or whatever, or when something like that's a very, very easy way to do it.
It's a very real thing. This is what Hayden's
been on this for a while.
And that's sort of what I try to implement this year. I think, is like just go RB heavy, but do it in an intelligent fashion, and also like draft the correct volume, draft the right profile of players around those guys, and just see what happens. And hopefully, I can see some good results in the finals, because like you, Davis, I drafted a ton of best ball teams and absolutely no regrets. I had fun and I like the way my teams look, or my results, early results look. But I need to win like 2 little Dalmatians to break even. So I need a shipper. I need a shipper.
1,622 teams advancing 394 teams. That's including 44 badge bros brawls. Didn't max the puppy one. Guess you didn't want it bad enough. Or was that when you had your son?
That might have been close to Melo's birth. I also was probably still doing hoops, and it was early. I wasn't doing a ton at that time. Like, believe it or not, a lot of these teams were done like July and August, which is like crazy, because I was auto drafting these puppies. It was just an experiment that I was doing, but I felt really, really confident in it, because at the time there were like guys that were obvious targets that were like a round and a half too low. So it would like, okay, here's who I know I want in this batch of drafts. Here's the draft structure I'm going to do, either 0 RB or heavy RB. Price players accordingly, so I know I'm drafting intelligent teams, and like fire it off. And it actually worked out. Like the puppy 2, 3, and puppy 2 did not work out, but 3 and 4, was a-okay in doing that.
Yeah. So I only auto drafted the little Dalmatian 1 and 2. Well, it's kind of, because I don't know. Do you do slow drafts at all?
Yes, I did a lot of slow drafts. I like the super flex puppy. I like almost completely slow drafted. I did a good amount of slow drafts for BBM. I was big time slow drafting this year.
So something I've realized about myself, and maybe you are better at this than I am, but my ability to draft good teams definitely goes down when I am either 151. Yeah, I definitely autoed one set of the puppies. I do not remember which one. One of these I autoed, but you can see here in the ones that are really big or went through very quickly, my advance rate is like really bad compared to the big board and Best Ball Mania. Like my puppy advance rate is literally half of the other ones. And I think, I couldn't say this for sure. I think I'm drafting a lot of meme teams in those. I'm like, well, shit, yeah, I'm going to take Xavier Worthy and Jaden Blue every time. I do that. But I also think when you are doing so many of them at a time, you are not making the best pick. You're just like, I just need to make a pick that makes theoretical sense. And because I I didn't have Javonte. I didn't have ETN. I didn't have Swift. I didn't have a lot of these veteran running backs that high in my rankings. I just didn't get very much ETN. I didn't get very many of these guys. The veteran running backs who I actually did like, James Conner and Alvin Kamara, ended up basically being like the absolute worst picks on the board, which feels kind of sick that I kind of learned my lesson with veteran running backs and then got just immediately punished for it. That does feel a little fucked up.
Well, I mean, what I'm just to like forward think a little bit here. I think people are going to overreact to how bad the veteran running backs were this year, just because of how bad they performed. Like Saquon was bad, Derrick Henry was bad, James Conner got hurt, Alvin Kamara finally like bit the dust, and now we're just like not going to draft veteran running backs next year. I don't think we're gonna.
Yeah,
I don't know.
but a lot of the veteran running backs are the top advance rates. So Javonte 30%, James Cook 27%, ETN 26, DeAndre Swift 21, Jacobs 21. Jalen Warren, your boy Jalen Warren in there as well. I disagree with you. I almost take the other thing, and I think people are going to be like, well, James Conner got hurt and Alvin Kamara was on a bad team, but you're already seeing it in the chat. People are like, bro, Saquon's going to punish you. Like, and you can make excuses for Derrick Henry too. You can say, well, Lamar's been terrible and injured.
Sure. Yeah, I don't disagree there. I had a lot of those guys, and if they would have done better, I probably would have smashed. And, I went on record saying, that Najee should have been a league winner. Najee should have absolutely went crazy.
So I'll tell you, I had this argument with Peter the other day, and let me see if this will convince you. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. I think Najee would not have been a league winner in the way that, like, if you just applied Kamani Vidal's stats to Najee, obviously would have been like an unbelievably good pick. But I think that the Chargers offensive line was so bad that playing a guy like Najee Harris, I don't think he would have been able to accumulate the Kamani Vidal statistics. I think like Vidal's going to be worse from a success rate perspective, but he's going to be way better from an explosive play rate. And ultimately, in a Hampton Najee backfield, like assuming Hampton had stayed healthy, I think you naturally just get less of Najee. You know what Najee Harris turns in this season? He turns into Samaje Perine. I wouldn't have been surprised if actually they turned Najee into the third down back over the course of the season.
I will totally accept that. Like that's very true, right? The Chargers have mega problems with the offensive line, and that was why Najee was like so frustrating. Was because like the offensive line problems that he had in the past, but like he's out there usually. But man, it just sucks seeing the Najee zero on so many teams when like just the opportunities that were there in that Chargers backfield were aplenty, considering how cheap he was. Right? People were convinced this dude was like blind. and
we're all trying to find the guy who did this, Nez.
And it was just like
it was the year of the internet rumor. Every internet rumor is true.
Shout out Joe Mixon.
Najee Harris did actually fuck up his eye with fireworks. Joe Mixon, that you could only find if you like dug up this like Podiatry Association of Houston Facebook post. Joe Mixon actually did have like something that happened away from the facility to his foot, which is why he's on the non-football injury list, by the way, and why Joe Mixon, when Joe Mixon is interviewed or says anything on social media, he's like, no, I'm playing. Because you have to think deeply about this. The Texans are going to try and sue him and get his money back. They're going to try and say, you got injured away from the facility. This is not on us. We are not paying you anything.
Yeah, exactly.
And there was one more. There's one other one. What was there was another one that I can't remember.
Oh, there wasn't there?
There was definitely a third, and I can't remember it at all.
Well, wasn't Jaden Reed sort of up there?
Like, Jaden Reed, yes. Jaden Reed. The Judkins stuff. Oh, yeah, but that was like Ayuk. Everyone on earth knew that Brandon Ayuk didn't want to be on the 49ers, that Kyle Shanahan hates him. 4 months later, we learn. By the way, the 49ers reporting. Can these guys get serious? His contract got voided. If you read the story correctly, the guarantees got voided in the offseason. They did not get voided like when the story broke, like 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago.
Really?
Yes. If you go back and read the story, it was that they had gotten voided when he wasn't showing up to meetings in the off season, and he was like, sure, whatever, I don't care.
Why are we just learning that now?
Because this is what happens in the NFL all the time. Something happens and the team's like, we don't want this to get out, or Ayuk is like, I don't want this to get out, and it just never gets reported.
Well, it's not really up to Ayuk, but I guess what are the Niners?
Oh, there you go. Thank you, MBF. The story broke once Ayuk decided not to contest the voided guarantees with the NFLPA.
Wow. So you just like, you got me.
But still not reported, right? Because this grievance would have been filed forever ago. So still not. Yeah. The Jaden Blue attitude issues. So do you remember the guy who worked for the Cowboys in like 2001 went on Marcus Mosher's show and said, yeah. So I get a DM. I'm not even going to out who it is, but someone who would know. I get a DM from someone who says like, this isn't even scratching the surface. Like, this dude sucks. Like, the Cowboys hate him. Like, he does not want to play football. Now, that sign is not going to stop me because I don't know how to read. But it turns out to be 100% true. And this actually came out even later. Not even came out. It came to my attention later. He got kicked off his high school football team, Jaden Blue.
I don't think I knew that.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
But he still made it to Texas, so like the talent's there.
The talent's there. What? Let's do a little diagnosis of our boy Nez here.
Sure.
Were you a Javonte guy, or were you a
no
a one Javonte team advancing, no Jaden Blue teams advancing? No, one Jaden Blue.
3, baby.
Oh, 3. There you go. Shout out to you, brother.
Yeah. I had the tweet in the summer. I'm like, because Jaden Blue's going like, pick 100. I'm like, you guys got to explain this to me. And some people told me, hey, he's really fast. And I was like, yeah, I know. But like, what else? And they're like, well, just think about it. And I'm like, all right, man, fine. You got me. And I took 9 shares and then I stopped after that. I didn't do any more. But yeah. No Jaden Blue. I have a decent amount of Pickens, but I went like Omega JMO instead of Pickens. Like at the end, I was just going JMO. And I do obviously have some regrets. I didn't split that baby a little bit more, but yeah, I'm pretty excited about the JMO shares. He's really come alive late, so that was fun. And I'm running pretty hot, fingers crossed, I guess, but like running hot on the Bijan fade because of his end of season run out. That was a huge luck box though. That was a suck out based on the
was that intentional? Like you were coming into the season being like, this dude stinks.
Yeah, I was like, dude, I'm like, why is he going over Saquon Barkley? Like Saquon Barkley still plays for the Eagles. Like what's changed? The Eagles line is still nasty. What are we doing here? And it turns out we were drafting the better player, and I didn't know. No one told me. I also didn't do a ton of Gibbs, which is like really unfortunate.
Oh, bro.
Can you check? I actually don't know how many Gibbs I advanced or have.
Well, dude. I mean, I was about to say you're running hot, but you're not running hot. Like Gibbs is just unreal. So getting 9.3% through is actually running bad.
Yeah, that's like 9.3%. So I was like at the field, but like, yeah, that was pretty unfortunate, man, to not just be like, hey, you know what? Jahmyr Gibbs is just breaks shit. And that's what you want. You want that in fantasy football.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's talk about like some of like the clear lessons, like things that we are going to try and hold near and dear to our hearts next year. I'd like to, because we were talking a little bit before the show, so I'd like you to talk about the lesson learned from the Cam Scadaboo stuff.
I mean, dude, just the value. And I mean, we chase this everywhere, and it would just be nice to know where it's going to come from, year after year. But the value of like Cam Scadaboo hitting in like that brief sample is just like nuts. how many teams are advancing because of, 5 monster weeks from like a 10th round pick is just like unbelievable. And so that is like obviously okay, like this is like what you can gain. Like imagine if this hit all season, it would be unbelievable. But just from these small hits, he's already advancing, helping advance so many teams that have him. Thinking about it from a draft standpoint, right? Like, is there just times where we just got to say like, forget the draft capital like flow chart in best ball in terms of the draft for these rookies? Where like I was spooked from the Cam Scatterbo draft capital. We all love this guy. We all thought he could play football, but like I didn't know why he fell so far in the draft. So that kind of like pushed me off. I'm like, maybe this guy's just a meme. And it turns out like no, he's just like probably a knucklehead. But Dayball just fit Dayball's personality so well. I mean, I just think that like not overthinking certain things is probably where it's at. And man, Cam Scatterbo was just like born to play football, and nothing to overthink there. But the hit of these games itself made him such a sick piece for advancing, and it's really unfortunate that he's not playing football right now.
It is unfortunate, and I have a lesson. So first off, I agree that the value of insane hits, even if it is just for a short period of time and then they tail off, is actually going to keep me probably chasing the ghost of these. Like, obviously, like a huge thing people are doing right now is dunking on all the rookie players who were bad. Like, dude, I can't believe you drafted Matthew fucking Golden. You could have taken Christian Watson, you idiot.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, Matthew Golden, I mean, this is like really relitigating history. This man could have had 2 95-yard touchdowns in his first 2 NFL games if Jordan Love had just like put like 6 inches of touch more on 2 individual passes. And then all of a sudden, everything's different, right? Maybe Watson takes an extra week or 2 weeks to get back. Maybe Romeo Doubs takes a little bit of a step back in the offense. Also, Golden is injured. It's not really about Golden. Okay. But it's more about I feel comfortable chasing individual ceiling, even with picks in the 50s, in the 60s, in the 70s, in over smaller time frames, because that's always the thing that people argue about with rookies, right? Which is, oh, the rookies are never gonna hit early enough. You got to get there. You got to get there, bro. And it's like, well, yeah, you do have to get there. But if Matthew Golden gives me 27 points in week 4, 14 points in week 6, and a 21 pointer on Thanksgiving, probably call that good, right? Probably say that's fine.
Yeah, you kind of, I'm with you, man. It's really hard to, it is hard to not be very results oriented when thinking about the decisions that we made. But I think the Cam Scatterbo thesis, I think absolutely presents itself in Golden's case, because if you just had the impartial information of like, hey, Jaden Reed is going to be hurt for most of the season. So is Christian Watson's going to miss like half the season, but he will come back. But think about like what you can get from Golden. You have the ability for him to establish himself with Jordan Love, and then you have and then you get the rookie ascension on top of that. You would take that bet all the time for a first round wide receiver in the Packers, especially with his profile. Right, he just has such an explosive profile that like I think that is fine. And like you can't just like overfit your decision making to next year just because the college production wasn't there. There's a lot of guys that don't have great college production that end up being good players. So yeah, that's a tough one. I am going to excuse myself for the L on that one. I made those decisions with my own brain, and that's just an L that I'm going to take. But I don't regret that decision.
I was going to say, I'm not even taking the L. It's just like sometimes it just doesn't work, right? Like something that we always have trouble with is, oh, well, the thing that happened was always going to happen, right? I mean, you see people litigating it in the comments right now. They're like, dude, you took a Packers wide receiver. You're so fucking stupid. It's like, okay, well, Christian Watson was a good pick. Tucker Kraft was a good pick. Romeo Doubs was a good pick. Dontavian Wicks was a good pick. Dontavian Wicks with 1 spike week on Thanksgiving, good pick. gonna have helped you advance a
Yeah.
certain percentage of teams. So I would say the overarching thing from all of this is in your back looking analysis, don't do the thing that happened, that was just the way it was always going to go.
Right.
So like actually, I think the best example of this and the thing that I wanted to talk about next was a lesson I did learn and an L I am going to hold, which is holding the Javonte Williams L, but not for the reason that people are going to say, not for the
Okay.
reason that, oh, dude, well, he was 3 years removed from the injury, and he was so sick in college. He was so sick that second year. Not for that. Has nothing to do with, I feel very confident that Javonte Williams could have very easily played his way out of this job. And also, Javonte has not been good in like months. Like Javonte, like the actual like success rate in yards per carry, he's been terrible for like 2 weeks, right?
Yeah.
2 months. Sorry, not even good as a pass catcher, by the way, either. Like he's not had 100 yards since the game against the Commies on October 19th. It's been all touchdowns. It's been all and not even like a lot of touchdowns. But the reason why stone fading Javonte was bad was because if you use the old like late round quarterback adage, which JJ's done a ton of research on this,
Sure.
which is that in an ambiguous backfield, always take the cheapest one. That's kind of based on old ADP, where Javonte Williams, what would Javonte Williams' ADP in this spot have been 5 years ago? He still would have been like a 5th round pick, right? Instead, he was like a 9th, 10th, 11th round pick in Best Ball Mania.
Right.
So to have been, and I took like 20% of Miles Sanders. I took obviously a ton of Jaden Blue. Just from a risk management perspective, makes no sense to only take 2 of the 3 in a backfield. Like it's like actually actively bad to say, well, I think this backfield's going to be good, but I'm not going to take the guy who I at least know is going to start in week 1. It's actively, like, it was actively bad decision making for me.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I'll take the L is that I was way overconfident that he was not good, even though we have like multiple years of him not being good. But it's just like, what if this offense is cooking? It really doesn't matter. But we're all pushed back as far as like, oh, like he was always going to be good. I'll be honest. I mean, I'm not 100% convinced that Miles Sanders wasn't going to like relinquish all touches.
Dude, yes, totally
like,
possible.
He was free, right? Like I feel like there was not a big difference between Javonte and Miles Sanders, and maybe that is just like giga cope. But like
it's not, because Javonte, like he did. I'll give it to Javonte. He like has looked good a couple times, particularly in that Jets game. But like, let's just be so serious, dude. He's like he's basically Kareem Hunt. You know, he's just fine.
Right. Yeah, which is like, those are good roles in fantasy, absolutely. But like, he earned that due to luck, man. And also like the Jaden Blue, like we're also not counting the Jaden Blue factor of him like stealing. Like, we thought Jaden Blue would get like 7 touches a game. Has he been a scratch? Has Jaden Blue been active on game days? I don't even fucking know.
I think he's played like 5 times. You know what? Honestly, Jared, you're right. He is nowhere near Hunt. He's way fucking worse. If you look at EPA per play or success rate, he's a lot worse than Kareem Hunt. So if you want to look at anything that quantifies the value of a rush, Javonte is not in the top 15 running backs in the league. All of you guys know this. You're all being stupid on purpose. Yeah. No one actually thinks Javonte's good. I refuse to believe any of you guys in the chat right now think Javonte is good. You are actually reverse coping if you think Javonte is good. What I'm saying is that it is immaterial to what I was doing. Even though Javonte is not good, I clearly had a lower percentage probability of Javonte's ability to hold on to this backfield for the whole season than was going to be the case. And I'm saying, if I was going to be drafting Jaden Blue and if I was going to be drafting Miles Sanders, it does not logically make any sense to not draft any Javonte. It like actually is reverse logical. It's actually very stupid.
Right. I mean, because I was formerly bullish on Javonte, and I just totally gave up on him in a good spot where things could have worked out. Um, I have a question for you
Hmm.
because like here's a pick that I'm really proud of, but I'm like not sure if I am allowed to be proud of it or if I got lucky. Was Kyle Monangai,
No,
where
so good. It's so the Kyle Monangai thing though. It's the same fucking thing as taking Jaden Blue and Miles Sanders. It just worked.
yeah, because like I guess my question is like, did I get lucky because like every model said that Monangai was like their worst player ever in their model. They're like, we've never seen a player worse than Kyle Monangai in our rookie model, and I'm like, well, they haven't talked about Roshan Johnson once, and this guy never fumbled, and they want to run the goddamn rock, and his counterpart is DeAndre Swift, who really is not a between the tackles runner. Uh, I feel like the thesis played out, but I don't know if I just got lucky or if that was actually like a good read. I
No,
just
no,
want to.
it was a very good read. It's the same reason why like I ended up with a ton of Woody Marks, even though I think Woody Marks is like actively so bad. And by the way, Woody Marks is actively terrible. Woody Marks plays like every snap for the for the Texans and just generates like
Yes,
no fantasy points.
sneaky great gauntlet pick. Sneaky
But
great gauntlet pick.
sneaky great gun. Wait, Woody Marks, sneaky great gun. Not for me. Not for me, boss. I'm not doing it. You can't make me draft the Texans in the gauntlet.
Buddy, you're gonna learn
I
very,
haven't. I
very,
have not. I
very
have not.
soon.
I've not fired up the sidekick yet for the gauntlet yet. But being overly confident in our ability to say who is going to be good in the NFL is bad. And that's what I said. So like Woody Marks, if Woody Marks were Jaden Blue or Byshell Tootin and he was in that situation with Nick Chubb, Joe Mixon with the fucked up foot, and Dare Ogunbowale, we could have
And Damian
gotten that,
Pierce, he
and
was
Damian Pierce.
there.
We could have gotten that guy into what, like the 8th round probably, if it was someone we liked. But because we thought Woody Marks sucked, he was like a 16th round pick the whole time.
Yeah, and also like yeah, we knew it was also like a very open secret about Joe Mixon, so we kind of like kept those picks buried as long as we could because Joe Mixon kept going. Um, yeah, only one Woody Marks team is like really unfortunate because like he cost me nothing. So like that was just
This is me. This is
oh
me.
is it okay?
So I drafted him 17 times, which is whatever, a little bit above average, but only got one through.
Yeah,
But I think that the Monangai thing is, I mean, look, honestly, it's the same thing as taking Byshell Tootin. It's just we thought Tootin was good, we thought Monangai was bad. But we learn all the time that we are not hyper accurate at determining who is going to be good and who is going to be bad coming out of college. Everyone thought,
yeah,
how about this? Everyone thought Jackson Dart was not good. Everyone
it's
thought
true.
Jackson Dart was like a point and click Lane Kiffin quarterback. Jackson Dart was my most drafted quarterback in best ball. Although sadly, this dude is going to suck now because Kafka is just like running out the clock on the season. No more runs for Dart.
I don't know. Do you think you can contain this dude? Like I think you have to bench him to keep him from rushing.
I mean, I think you can just call like really like you can just install like super conservative vanilla game plans, and it just is just going to be is what it is.
Sure.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. I think ETN part of this discussion as well. Where
Trevor
now, well,
or
it's kind of
or are you talking Travis in terms of like Javonte?
yes, Travis, Javonte, Swift, kind of that whole thing, because there were multiple opportunities where it looked like he either was going to lose his job or could have lost his job. Like at the end of the day, like LaQuint Allen and Byshell Tootin have been involved. The course of the season, LaQuint Allen has played 82% of the long down and distance. Remember week 1, all 4 of them were active. That's how long ago does week 1 feel? But ETN, Tootin, Bigsby, and LaQuint were all active, which would have been so bad for ETN if all 4 of them had played all year. That would have been it would have been a disaster. And ETN could have been traded also. There was reporting that not only were they trying to trade Bigsby, but they were like listening on ETN as well.
Yeah. Was Howie's trade of Bigsby like low key genius? Just like keeping him away from other teams because he knew he was good and he was like too cheap.
Uh,
Or do you
yeah.
not think
Although,
Bigsby's good?
oh no, I do. I drafted a lot of Tank Bigsby because I was fading ETN, so I drafted a lot of Bigsby, a lot of Tootin.
Yeah.
No LeQuint Allen. I do have a bunch of LeQuint Allen in the big board. Maybe that will come through. But yeah, I mean, I think so. I think the overarching, if you wanted to distill it into one sentence, it would basically be we need to reconfigure how we think about taking guys in ambiguous backfields if the most expensive guy is in the 8th round or 9th round or 10th round or whatever, like Javonte, ETN,
Yeah.
Swift. Honestly, even Jalen Warren. Okay. All right. Let's talk about Kaleb Johnson, man. Because Kaleb Johnson is my hugest miss. Not even close. You're a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. Where were you coming at on the season with
I had
Kaleb
4% Kaleb Johnson.
All right, speak on that. What
People
did
were
you
just I was adamant that people were disrespecting Jalen Warren like terribly. Just incredible disrespect. And comparing Kaleb Johnson to Najee Harris, I just thought was also like I get it, man. Like I'm not out here like, well, I have a Najee Harris crusade and I will till the day I die. But like people were just, oh, Kaleb Johnson is Najee Harris now. Like, guess what? Like Kaleb Johnson, he's now Najee Harris. Like, you're out of your fucking mind, man. Like, I'm sorry. Like, that is just like not even close to the comp. Like, Najee Harris was a first round pick. It was not a good first round pick, but he was a first round pick. He was a stud in college. Like, Kaleb Johnson was like decent at Iowa. And now all of a sudden, like, he's gonna like cuck Jalen Warren. Like, absolutely not, man. Like, do we know like what we're talking about here? This is Pittsburgh Steelers football. And Jalen Warren, we all like Jalen Warren. We all think Jalen Warren is good, and all of a sudden, like, we're like, nah, he's not it. He's not good. So like, got lucky in the stance, like in terms of like how bad things broke for Kaleb. But I couldn't believe the way people were just penciling in Kaleb Johnson for a bell cow role. I just thought that was just asinine, man.
So in a weird way, and you're probably going to disagree with this, in a weird way, the Kenneth Gainwell, 46% of the snaps, 29% of the rushes, 51% of the routes, 39% of the inside the 5, sort of justifies, because I did like Kaleb Johnson. I like Kaleb Johnson as a prospect. I thought he was a good runner. I did not see clear running back 3 on the Steelers as part of the range. Because my supposition was that Jalen Warren was not going to be treated like a bell cow running back for the Steelers. I didn't really foresee, and I've always been a Jalen Warren. I think in one of the Best Ball Manias, Jalen Warren was my most drafted player. I don't know which one. Maybe Best Ball Mania 3. Like, I think he's good. But it didn't seem to me that Tomlin and company were ever going to be like, all right, man, we're just going to give you 80% of the running back work. And shame on me for not realizing that the Steelers, Aaron Rodgers, Mike Tomlin were so going to be like, well, we're not trusting this rookie we just took in the 3rd round. We're not playing him at all. That Gainwell, yes, I basically thought Gainwell was a non-entity, and that is just clearly wrong. Just like when in doubt, like Arthur Smith doesn't play rookies. Mike Tomlin doesn't really play rookies. Rodgers is not going to trust a rookie. It was just, I think, a bad job by me.
Well, the problem I just had with the argument was that like Jalen Warren did this with Najee. Here comes Kaleb Johnson. Jalen Warren can't do what Jalen Warren, his only outcome is what happened when Najee was his teammate. And that's just not the case. But what did happen was that Kenny Gainwell was actually good. And so they were now able to split work, and they don't want Jalen Warren to take a lot of snaps. Sure. But like to say that Kaleb Johnson was being Najee, I just thought was just like just incredibly bad.
Wow, the Sims must be final over at sabersim.com if Jordan is gifting 10 Davis Maddock memberships. Must have gotten the Sims done early today.
I was some mittens of Jordan. Oh,
this was my assumption too. I assumed Kaleb was kind of the type of running back that Arthur Smith would love, and that just ended up being wrong. Like, I looked at it and I'm like, this dude weighs 230 pounds. He's not fast, but he never goes down on first contact. He's fine catching the ball. Like, why would Arthur Smith not like Kaleb? And the answer was just because it's his first year playing in the NFL, I guess.
I suppose.
Um,
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say we should talk about maybe the most controversial guy in the pool, Jameson Williams. We should talk about JMO because it's a true there's bad people on both sides of the Jameson Williams stuff. You and I both drafted JMO way above the field. Fun fact, JMO is one of the guys who is, what's the right way to explain this? He's outproducing his points per game finish in terms of advance rate. So like I think he's like the wide receiver 24 or something in PPR, but he's above the wide receiver 24 in advance rate. Is maybe I don't know if that's exactly the right way to explain it, but I think it's a highlight of how much floors do not matter in best ball. So let's what are your thoughts on your post looking thoughts on JMO?
Yeah, I mean, the JMO thesis I just thought was like very, very clear, right? Like this guy showed upside, and ultimately, man, like you want upside in the fantasy best ball playoffs. So that was like my slappy brain was just like, let me get 20 JMO points in the fantasy best ball playoffs and see what happens. This guy scored 20 fantasy points or more, like 25% of the time last year. Like that is a really, really nice hit rate. And I loved JMO as a prospect, loved him coming into the league, really got off to a bad start, and the coaches just couldn't stop singing their praises about him. Like, forgive me for thinking that there was like some sort of step forward available for JMO, but unfortunately, the volume wasn't there, but the production has been. And so I just wanted to take him in the playoffs. I wanted to show up in the fantasy best ball playoffs with JMO on as many teams as possible, knowing that he just has this like elite ceiling. And I'm really, really glad I did. I have like 40% JMO, like 17 JMO teams now in BBM remaining. So we'll see what happens here. JMO versus the Rams, I think is a pretty sick little spot.
I first off, I mean, I completely agree. I think the thing with JMO is that this is wrong, saying he's the perfect 8th round best ball pick, because you are not allowed to get players who can score 30 points in a game in the 8th round, or if you can, they're rookies. They're guys who have basically just not done it before. So some segment of the field, like some of the people listening to this are like, oh, well, I would never take Golden, right? There's no scenario where I would take a shitty wide receiver prospect from Texas who's on the Packers in the 4th round or whatever. So he just artificial. Travis Hunter actually is maybe even the better guy to explain with this with, because like I think we can see from the combination of the way that he played in his last game when they came back from London before he got injured, and then what Jacoby Myers is doing now. I think you're absolutely lying to yourself if you think that Hunter was not going to have like a crazy ceiling down the stretch.
The Hunter thing is so frustrating, and I just don't think it's his fault. And I don't know if maybe that's, a no shit take and a preaching to the choir, but like you said, man, that last game, he was so clearly like a freak, just really, really unfortunate that didn't pan out. And in this current iteration of the Jags, yeah, they wouldn't have to make the Jacoby trade. It would be Hunter probably cooking.
I believe I saw Scott Barrett tweet this. It might not have been Scott, but I believe someone said Lawrence's last game was I think it was like his best combination of PFF grade and EPA per play ever in a game. Like literally like last week.
The very last game against the Colts.
Literally like his best game ever. Yeah. That might not be an exact quote. I mean, if you watch the game, he was like fucking awesome. So
the film people have said that as well. And yeah, I was really hard on Trevor Lawrence like last year and early this year, but I'm fully off that agenda because he's just been pretty goddamn good. So you gotta respect it.
Yeah. And like, so I think like a lot of people would want to be like, dude, you're so fucking stupid, man. You were taking a cornerback in the 5th round. Like, dude, you don't know ball. It's like, that's honestly, like, I don't feel that way at all. I feel like some of the decisions I made that were bad, I feel bad about. And I'm like, well, you obviously should have known better. The Hunter thing, I'm like, sometimes you just lose those decisions. Like sometimes guys get hurt and sometimes guys don't pan out for like developmental reasons. But a lot of the time, and what's I think is I'm looking at the wide receiver advance rates. This is fascinating to me. 2 wide receivers with above a 30% advance rate and over what's that? That's over 20 wide receivers with between a 20 and 29% advance rate. That's crazy. That's basically saying almost no wide receiver mattered. That's like it's
how
honestly
many advanced
because of how many were just like basically fine, like basically like okay. Like if you turn a team over right now with Quentin Johnson with a 24% advance rate, do you even feel good about that?
He was really cheap, so I mean, I don't think you care. Like, I don't know who you're missing over that, other than like.
Well, you'd probably rather have Michael Wilson.
Yeah, but like, all right. Other than Michael Wilson, and I can't think of a running back off the top of my head. Who do you think was like the luckiest drafter? Like what pick was like you just really lucked the fuck out, man. Like hats off, but like you.
God,
were
I don't even know if I could say it on the.
Who got luckiest?
It's clearly fucking Javonte, right? It's just like clearly Javonte, like getting this run out for him.
Okay. Yeah.
It might maybe it's not Javonte. Maybe it's it could be Judkins, right? Could be, and I drafted a lot of Judkins, but it could be Judkins that he could have been suspended, right? You ran hot on that. Not saying that wasn't a calculated risk, but he could have clearly been suspended. And the team is still giga mega ass, and he still has found a way to advance. Like the team is still really bad, and he's got no passing work at all. None.
I think it's Javonte. Yeah. I think it is Javonte. Cause like I saw Rico in the chat, and I think the Rico guys ran like uber hot, but he still earned that. He earned that though. Like Chuba's healthy and Rico's still kicking ass. So you got to give the Rico slappers their respect.
And he was really good last year. Rico was like a good running back on the Cowboys side. I wasn't.
He was way too cheap.
Well, you want to know what makes me feel, dude? This makes me feel really stupid. You can see I only had 8% of Rico. I've got like I think I took Chuba once in Best Ball Mania,
so
which is like that.
Well, that's a Panthers bet. You just thought the Panthers would be ass, right? Or no?
Yeah, I agree with this. I don't think Rico is lucky at all. Like I think Fantasy Dog Pound had like 35% of him or whatever. I don't think I would have drafted 35% of. I wouldn't have drafted 35% of anyone. But Rico is just like, I think Rico is just a total like zoom out on the chart, think about the situation logically. It's a team who wants to run. It's a team who hates their quarterback. So when you hate your quarterback, what do you want to do? You want to run as much as possible. I think that probably right. Rico, I don't think is lucky at all. I would also put Swift in the category of luck because I don't even think his biggest supporters would say he's been very good. Like when you watch the Bears, you're not like, oh, this guy's awesome. I think you kind of just ran into some good performances.
Yeah. Obviously not like smashing, but for sure. No, that was a good call. I think it is. I think it is Javonte.
What about most unlucky? So the most unlucky picks, because I think
injury aside.
I mean, you can include injury if you want, but I think more.
I'm going to try not to because like there's a lot you could go for there, but because like the Giants in general, just like super unlucky and how everything ran out for them. Let me think about this one. Do you have an answer off the top of your head?
Well, I mean, I think obviously Jefferson is probably the one. No, I'm sorry, guys. The Brian Robinson people. He's a terrible running back. This is really good. So everyone in the chat's like, dude, JCM, he's terrible. He's awful. Blah 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 blah. Chris Rodriguez and Jeremy McNichols played the whole season. Neither of them have topped 12.1 half PPR points. Chris Rodriguez has topped 10 points one time. Corey Krosky-Merritt, who's been benched for no reason, let's just be real, has topped 14 points 3 times and has topped 20 points. He has a 24-point game. In fact, Corey Krosky-Merritt has the single highest single game half PPR performance on the entirety of the Washington Football Commanders.
That's crazy.
I'm sorry, guys. The Brian Robinson people, no, you didn't get unlucky.
You know what else is crazy? Sorry, just because I got this notification in and I'm trying to think about unlucky players, but honestly, I can't because I keep thinking about like injury right now. Dude, T. Higgins is going to play next week.
That can't be real.
He's limited. He's like fully on track to clear the protocol. If you're limited on Wednesday after a concussion, there's like 90% chance you're playing. He needs to be shut down for the year.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm worried about his brain. That dude, he got concussion checked twice. Oh well, there you go. Bowers, I think Bowers super unlucky. Yeah. Let's. I actually want to do like 10 minutes on the Raiders here in a little bit because I think there's huge lessons to be learned about the Raiders stuff.
I got 15 minutes for you probably. I gotta just eat some lunch before badge.
Yeah, no sweat. So I'll do my cope here. Everyone, wind up your cope machine. Get ready. Everyone get ready to yell. I legitimately believe this in my heart of hearts. I think Xavier Worthy had an insanely unlucky season, and I think you can squint. Yes. I think you can squint and see Worthy having a really good fantasy season. It's not going to happen for him. It's probably not going to happen for him next year. Like the Xavier Worthy
2 more years.
Just like the combination of like, okay, so Rice is clearly better than him at earning targets, but what's going to happen next year is they're going to reconfigure the team, and they're going to either get a good wide receiver in, or significantly change the way the team plays. So like, it's basically just never going to happen for Worthy.
I mean, like I don't know how as a Worthy Bear, you can't be like the shoulder injury is probably affecting his performance.
His shoulder is not currently attached to his body. It's held by a brace. He also has an ankle injury.
Like we just like you know what? Here's what you can say. Like, little guy gets hurt playing football. Like, no shit. Yep. Yep. Good. There is risk there. You're absolutely right. But I refuse to think that this shoulder injury isn't hampering him as a football player. I just don't know how it couldn't. Like, can you run as effectively? Can you be a ball carrier as effectively? Because your dipshit tight end ran into you on a route that was his fault.
And I would also like to make the point. He returns from his shoulder injury in this game against the Ravens. They were 1-2. They lose that game to the Ravens, and their season is over in like fucking September, right? Like you're 1-3. You lose against the team you want the tiebreaker against. The entire game plan was giving Xavier Worthy the ball in a must-win game. 8 targets, 5 receptions, 83 yards, 2 rushes for 38 yards. It's his best regular season game of his career, in the first game back, coming from the shoulder injury. See, this is the kind of stuff that I'm like, you guys don't even watch football. It just makes me so mad. You finally
got it. He finally got you, man.
T-Bear got me.
You've been poking the bear all show, and he got
me. He did get me right there.
Shout out Jordan, though. He has my unlucky player of the year, by the way. Tony Pollard, for sure.
Oh, dude. Yes. Yeah,
for sure.
I agree. Tony Pollard, very unlucky. Could like a lot of ways for Tony Pollard to have gotten there this year, and he just didn't. Yeah, and I'm not saying moving forward, like you guys are not going to catch me going to the mat next year for Worthy, because he's going to be too expensive. Like, we're not going to get a Rashad Bateman disc. He's going to be like a 6th round pick probably.
Yeah, it's so hard to tell right now, but he's going to have surgery. and we have no idea like what the timeline is going to be, but we assume he's going to be fine. But he's going to have surgery.
Can he gain some weight? Can we get Worthy in the weight room? Can we get Worthy to 175? Do you think he would even be effective playing football at 10 pounds heavier than he is now?
I'm going to say yes.
God, I hope so. See, I disagree with this. I don't think Tracy is unlucky at all. Guys like that are so likely to lose their jobs, bro. Like that. This is the Tracy thing is what could have happened to Javonte, could have happened to Etienne, kind of happened to Swift. These veteran running backs who are just okay when their team brings in a rookie running back. That is like what happens. These guys lose their jobs.
Yeah, losing. Yeah. Pac-Man, no offense, I'm going to push back on that. I just don't think losing your job makes you unlucky. I just think like, yeah, it's not a good pick, man. Yeah, that guy wasn't good enough to hold a job. And that was like a classic dead zone pick, right? Like they were going right next to one another. That was just like pretty classic.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. Okay, you have like 10 minutes left. Do you
I
have
do.
anything?
Yeah.
You have anything specific you want to cover, or do you want to do Raiders talk with me?
No, let's do Raiders, man, because I mean, what were the signs? Were there signs? Did I miss them that the offensive line was literally going to be like playing to rackety sacks every week? Because I would love to know how to identify those signs in the future. Honestly, man, bottom three worst offensive line I've seen ever in my time of watching football. Pete Carroll, they can't do this another year. They can't do it another year.
No,
you have to cut bait now.
He is going to be fired. The point I would like to make is more about what's the right way to say it? It's like the thing that people are saying looking back on it is like, well, yeah, you guys should have known the Raiders were going to be bad. You should have known Chip Kelly was going to be bad at calling plays. You should have known that Geno Smith was going to be ass. And I think I get it in my head. And I'm like, okay, well, clearly there were things that people were seeing that I was not seeing. One of this, you guys are seeing this on the screen right now. The assistant quarterbacks coach and game management, Nate Carroll. The run game coordinator and the offensive line coach, Brendan Carroll. Those are fucking Pete Carroll's kids. Pete Carroll's kids, these Nepo kids are there.
They don't even look like Pete.
Yeah. The thing that I disagree about was that the Raiders offense was bad last year, like very bad in 2024, but they still produced like pretty good fantasy numbers. If Bowers had ran back his season from last year where he had 112 receptions, 1,100 yards, and 5 touchdowns, but instead of 5 touchdowns, he scored 10 touchdowns. Everyone is windmilling. They're saying, "Oh my God, Bowers, dude. Bowers is the GOAT. He's the best." Wow. You guys took Chase Brown over Brock Bowers. You don't know shit about football. The backfield last year, they ran for 1,300 yards and 10 touchdowns as a team. The backfield combined for, I'm trying to do the math, like something like 95 receptions last year. The combination of Alexander Madison, Zamir White, and Amir Abdullah. Obviously, Ashton Genty would not and has not given up any work. Like Raheem Mostert plays like 8 snaps a game. I think last week Genty played 95.6% of the snaps in the backfield. I actually kind of think that if you run this season 10 times, you get the result you want from Genty, like even with this coaching set, like 2.5 times. And with Bowers, I mean, at least 5 times, right?
Yeah, because Bowers had that injury. On paper, I just don't think this team was supposed to be this bad.
They were not supposed to be this bad. No,
not at all. Not at all.
Bowers has more touchdowns this year in like 9.5 games than he had last season.
That's pretty funny.
Like I just like touchdown variance when you are a 30% target share tight end is crazy. Yes, and
But
also
everyone knew they needed to draft a tackle, and they didn't.
yeah, I mean, obviously, looking back on it, I really wish Genty would have went to the Bears. Genty goes to the Bears, and I'm pricing out exotic animals probably.
Yeah. I mean, if Genty goes to the Bears, I'm drafting him top 5.
Top 5, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I would have done it. I would have done it. I would have had so much Genty. It wasn't fun, but I didn't actually draft a ton of Genty this year. I wanted to, but I went Derrick Henry over Genty like every time, basically.
See, and I was like, I'm comfortable losing that, right? So like it's like, which I don't even think you lost. What's the advance rate difference between those two guys? I bet it's honestly not that much.
I bet it's a lot. Because it's going to be unfair, dude, because Genty and BTJ were popular pairings.
Neither of them are even amongst the top 30, 40 in advance rate.
Derrick Henry 11.7, Genty 8 point something. So talking about 3%,
you're talking about two bad picks. You know, like
yeah,
at the end of the day, two pretty bad picks. Yeah, like I just think, and it's more a question of like, well, should we be optimistic about these new coaching hires, or should we not? Should we instead be pessimistic about teams rebuilding?
Well, think about it. The field was like batting 1,000 for identifying who the good hires were. Right? Who am I missing? Nobody really thought Pete Carroll was a good hire. We loved Liam Cohen. We loved Ben Johnson. Am I missing a different? Somebody got fired. Well, the Titans. I don't think anybody was like, yeah, that was a great hire.
I think people 2 years ago were excited about the Titans hire. The guy who got fired, the guy from the Bengals. People liked him. Mm-hmm. Yeah. When he got hired, because they were like, dude, you signed Hopkins with Levis, like they're trying to give him weapons. I'm like literally quoting myself.
Yeah. Someone said Aaron Glenn. I liked the Aaron Glenn hire. I thought the vibes were immaculate coming into the season.
Yeah. All right, man. Let's get you out of here. And okay. So what's on the brothers today? You doing hoops, or what are you doing?
Yeah. So today we've got on the Dog Bowl winner Cognition on the show. Going to talk with him. He hasn't done an appearance on the show before, so it'll be cool to get to talk to him. He's a really nice guy. Smashed the Dog Bowl, won without Michael Wilson or Puka Nacua last week, which is just like, or this Sunday, which is crazy. And so excited to get to talk with him about his experience and his winnings. And then we are going to talk hoops. It's an abysmal hoop slate. Your Thunder are on it.
Well, I was gonna say it's only a 2. I was gonna say, are they 16.5 point favorites? What are they favored by?
They're gonna be 16.5 whenever Devin Booker gets ruled out, but he's questionable. I think it's Aaron Wiggins, AJ Mitchell slate. But
are people prepared for the Thunder to win 74 games, or like are they not even having that conversation yet?
No, I'm looking for somebody to book me for Thunder 3 straight titles. Whoever will, I'll accept odds as low as plus 200. Just give it to me.
The Thunder have lost one game this season, and in that game, they had a 20-point lead in the second half, and the Blazers found a way to get there. They were a 20-point lead in the only game they've lost this year.
They don't have anybody that's like obviously they have Shea, but they don't play super sexy brand of basketball. I don't think people truly comprehend how good this Thunder team is. They have like 3 guys that average less than 20 minutes a game that could be starters for 20 teams in the league. They are ridiculous. They're so goddamn good. And they're going to win it all this year.
AJ Mitchell on like, I'm trying to think, on like the Pistons would be like an Eastern Conference All-Star. What can you do, man?
Put him on the Pelicans and see what happens.
Put him on the Pelicans and they're in the play-in.
No disrespect to Fears, but
University of Oklahoma's own Fears. Okay. All right, everyone, go check out. And you know what? And I will just I'm gonna set my stream right now to hyperlink straight to the Badge Bros. So when we're done right here, you guys can head right there. So check out the Badge Brothers. Nez, thank you for your time.
Yeah, appreciate you, Davis. Good talk with you, and talk to you soon.
All right, take it easy. All right, boys. I think let's do it. I think let's do the draw. So special shout out to Bolik, as in Bollock, as in parabolic, from the Slappy Central Discord. We are going to do the drawing. So if you guys were commenting on the streams at any point this season, you got entered into a drawing to generate 5% of my winnings. You guys can see here on the portfolio tab. These are the teams that you are eligible to draw from. 274 advancing teams on Underdog. Over on DraftKings, I have 29 teams advancing here. Let's see if I can pull that up. I've not done this on desktop yet. Upcoming history live is in. Okay, here we go. Upcoming. So 29 teams live here on DraftKings. Whatever 5% of a million is. You guys have 5% of 5% of two. I you know what? I should have made it 8.5% for the bit. All right, so let's pull the drawing up. I'll give you guys a little bit of a drum roll. There we go. Start the drawing, separating entries into 50 groups, and we're gonna start drawing. So let's figure it out. Oh, I think it's doing it right now. Look, I'll tell you right now. I'm rooting for. Who am I rooting for? I'm rooting for Chad Candles. That's who I'm rooting for. I don't know. Do I need to click another button? Okay, here we go. Spin. So there we go. Let's do it. One entered by commenting on the videos over the course of the entire season. You're not in because you didn't comment. Well, maybe you are. If you commented on the videos, you're in. Wow, Frankie's in there. Be a hell of a free roll for Frankie. Hey Bales 19. There you go. Hey Bales, and I actually am familiar. I remember the name of Hey Bales 19. I don't think he or she is here right now, but at Hey Bales 19. Oh yeah, Bailey. Okay, there we go. Hey Bales 19 is the giveaway winner. So there you go. If we win, why are we respinning? What do we need to respin for? There's no rigged. What is it rigged for? Why are you guys saying rigged? This is boys. You can't be sour. All of you had the same opportunity to enter into this giveaway as everyone else. All of you guys had the same opportunity. The giveaway video has been pinned to the top of this channel for a whole like 7 months. Zach Lenars, yes. I've never seen so many people upset about not winning $0. All right, we'll do a backup spin. We'll do a backup spin. I guess, can I just refresh this page? All right, we're gonna do a backup spin, separating entries into 50 groups, and we're gonna spin the wheel. We'll see how above board it is. There you go. Group 21 this time, and let's see who gets the backup. There we go. E-Man Kel at E-Man Kel is the backup winner. Assuming I know that Bailey will end up commenting, but we'll go at E-Man Kel as the backup winner. Bailey, I will give you a week. I'll give you a week to come in and claim your money. But E-Man Kel, you'll be the yeah. And also, you guys could just go win Best Ball Mania yourself, right? I think that I think winning Best Ball Mania is a good plan for all of you guys. So there you go, man. The whole portfolio. Let's actually go look. Let's actually go look at some of these teams that I've got through in here. Let's see if any of them are any good. I'm trying to decide if any of these teams are any good. Can I keep spinning the wheel? Is that what do we just like look watching the wheel spin? We'll go looking at my BBM teams. Let's go see if we've got any good ones here. So this is my highest scoring team in Best Ball Mania. It's got Dak and Kaleb on it. It does have Jonathan Taylor, but is not dead because it's got Bucky this week. It's got Swift this week. Samson is at least live. JCM is not live. Manungai is not live. Lamb and Pickens. DJ Moore. Ugh. Chris Olave. Christian Kirk. Keenan out. De'Ami Brown is so funny. Kelsey. Ertz out for the year. Yes. Everyone, please say thank you to Bullock. Please say thank you to him for him figuring out the wheel spinning. I had forgotten about this giveaway until last night. It turns out that being a new dad, not sleeping very much, you kind of forget things. I forget that I had announced December 10th as the day that we were doing. We will do I promise you we will do a playoff best ball. Actually, big shout out to Kev as well. What's the worst best ball team to win BBM after round one? I don't even know how to answer that. Let me go to legendaryupside.com real quick and make sure that I have the newest version of the Sidekick installed. All right. We got the Chrome install link. We'll go remove from Chrome. We'll add to Chrome. We'll add extension. Okay. So I should have the good one. No, Manungai's live, but JCM is not live. What is easy in here? I don't is easy. If you're sidekicking, get ready to learn Jaguars. I was actually taking Jaguars in the way too early best ball a little bit. So that team is okay. Do you think underdogs should make getting to the final less than 1 of 16 and increase the final size? I do not. All right, maybe this team is better. Drake, May, Cam Ward, and Gino, probably not. Gibbs and JT, Pacheco dead, Dobbins dead, Hunter dead. So this team's probably dead. T might not play. Worthy dead. Metcalf, whatever. Diggs, whatever. Michael Pittman Jr., bad. Okay, no, that team's no good. Bo Nix, Gino, and Dimes. Okay, so only one quarterback, really. JT and Pacheco. Oh, man. These teams are looking rough. These are not looking good. This team, I did get a Jefferson team through, but man, that team kind of sucks. Okay, so that team's no good. Is this team any good? Dak and Gino, Gibbs, JT, Tracy is at least live. The rest of, dude, this is okay. I'm gonna filter down to no Jonathan Taylor. How about that? How about no Jonathan Taylor? All right, let's go. Maybe the lower scoring ones are better. Here's a lower scoring one. Hurts and Gino, Gibbs, Bucky, Hampton. Okay. Sutton, not great. Diggs, not great. Jacoby, Michael Pittman Jr., dead. Higgins, maybe okay. Keenan, Ayuk, ugh. Pat Bryant, whatever. Hunter Henry, dead Zach Ertz, dead Mason Taylor. It ranks your BBM teams by EV. What am I looking at? Where do I want to go for this, Charlie? Who do I want to see? I want to see Not Jonathan Taylor. BBM portfolio. Okay, I've got what tab do I click here? The entry breakdown, round two dashboard. Oh, here we go. All right, entry EV. All right, top team. Dak. Oh, nope. Not good. Not good. This team is not good. This was the team we just looked. Because JT is basically 0. Zach Ertz basically 0. CJ Stroud, Dak, and Darnold. So 3 guys live. Gibbs, Pollard, Tracy. So basically dead at running back. JSN, JMO, Jennings, Higgins, Knoll, Turpin, Bauer. Bauer's team. All right. Got a Bauer's team through. Getting a Bauer's team through feels very, 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 very good. So I would say that team is live. All right. May, Ward, fucking Taylor. I don't want to see Taylor on any of these teams. These teams suck. Dak, Gino, another Bowers team through, but another dude, enough. Buddy, I feel very good about I mean, okay, here's what I'd like to filter by actually. Can I filter by did I get any McCaffrey teams through? All right, I've got 3 McCaffrey teams through. Can we win Best Ball Mania? God, I hope so. Okay. Josh Allen and Dart, CMC live, Walker live, Jones is live, Scadaboo's dead, Braylon's dead, Miles Sanders dead. So a lot of weight on Aaron Jones here. T, Sutton, Judy, Shaheed, Trey Harris, Wandale, Slayton, Adonai Mitchell, Travis Kelce, and Evan Ingram. This team is live. So this team is definitely live to get through. I mean, I'm not saying it's like gonna get through, but this team is live, I think. Josh Allen, Jackson Dart, totally live to get through. Purdy and Lawrence, good. McCaffrey, A-Chain. So if A-Chain's out, I have Aaron Jones or Sharbs. JSN, Mike Evans is going to play this week. Travis Hunter's dead. Waddle's good. Reed is going to play. Slayton should be good. Strange, Otten, and Fannin also live. Josh Allen and Purdy. McCaffrey, Harvey, Javonte. There we go. That's a running back room. This team really needs London because if it doesn't have London, it only has Worthy, Jennings, Burden, and Knoll active at wide receiver with Kelce, Pitts, and Bannon. All right. I like that one. I like that one. That one's nice. What else? Let's sort by Gibbs. Got 4 Gibbs teams through. Stroud, Dak. Oh, this was the one from BBM portfolio. Goff, Love, Gibbs, Kyron, Dobbins is dead. Algier, whatever, maybe. Sean Tucker, maybe. Ooh, here we go. This is the one. This is the one, boys. A Rashee Rice team. George Pickens, Rashee Rice, Golden, Judy, Higgins, Demario Douglas, Adam Thielen, Isaac Tesla, Jalen Coker, Bowers. This is the one. If we're winning Best Ball Mania, this is the team that's going to do it. Fuck, that's a good team. I would say Gibbs and Rice would probably be 2 of the players I'd most want to get through. Okay. Dak, Gino. Okay, this is the same one. Yeah. You just don't want to see Jonathan Taylor on any of these teams. I don't need a wide receiver 3, Eggers. Don't need it. Don't need it. Who needs a wide receiver? Who needs a wide receiver 3? All right, let's go look at some of the big board teams. the big board, Davis Maddock, and let's do no Jonathan. Ooh, I had a team in 59th in the big board. Goff, Love, Tua, Gibbs, JT, Warren, Harvey. I mean, all right. JSN, Flowers, Pickens, Burden, Jacoby Myers, Wicks, Malik Washington, Harold Fannin, the planning. That's just a good old big board team right there. That one is nice. All right, let's go non-rostered players. Jonathan Taylor. All right, I have 22 advancing big board teams with no Jonathan Taylor. Now, can I sort by Gibbs? Okay. Wow, this one got lucky to advance. Mayfield, Herbert, Stafford, Gibbs, Trevion Henderson, Najee Harris, Ollie Gordon, Damian Martinez, Ladd, Garrett Wilson, so 0, Rome 0, Tet, McMillan, Hollywood. Wow, Ricky White. Shout out, Twan. Where is Twan here? Shout out to him, bro. We got Ricky White in there. You love to see it. Okay, let's remove that. Can I sort by? Well, let's just go to my overall portfolio. Actually, let's go to portfolio, and let's go to. Oh, you probably can't sort by just advancing teams. Is there any way to look at all your teams but only advancing teams? I guess it would be. Oh, okay, here leaderboard. No, okay, we'll go portfolio, Davis Maddock. I'd like to look at Rashee Rice. Rashee Rice, no Jonathan Taylor. Okay, across my whole portfolio, I have 14 advancing teams with Rashee Rice and no Jonathan Taylor. Let's see, can I add Gibbs in there? I've got 4 of these, including one. Ooh. Okay, in the Pit Bowl, Mahomes and Geno, Gibbs, Walker, Mason, Rashad, okay, whatever. Rashee, Javonte, Jamo, Addison, Igbuka, Pat Bryant, Thornton, Njoku, Warren, Theo Johnson. Okay, it's not that good. What would even be, I guess, what would be like the perfect team right now? The perfect team in BBM, I think, would include Rashee. I think it would have Gibbs, and then it would remove a lot of the zeros. So like no Ayuk, no Ertz, no Anthony Richardson, no Joe Mixon. It would be who else is out for the year? It'd be no Eckler. It would be no James Conner. It would be no Trey Benson, Tyreek Hill. It would be no Neighbors, Scattaboo. It would be no Kaleb Johnson. Who else would be nutted? Hunter, thank you. That's a good one. Be no Travis Hunter. Who else is out for the year? Dobbins, yeah, Dobbins out for the year. Kraft. I'm not gonna put okay, Daniel Jones. I would say these are the guys I'm most excited to see. If I turned over a team, I would most want to see Rashee Rice and Jahmyr Gibbs. We got Tucker Kraft in there. We got Daniel Jones on there. Let's run this filter. Let's see. There might not be any of these in the contest. Okay, there are 1,400 of these. So top team, Weird Frank, Mahomes and Love. Oh, but it's got Taylor on it. So let's see if there's no Jonathan Taylor teams. All right, 563. Dak to a Jalen Milroe, Jahmyr Gibbs, Devin A-Chain, DeAndre Swift, Ray Davis, Roshan. You know what? I'm going to put Roshan on the 0 list. Roshan goes on the 0 list. We've got Mahomes and Herbert, Gibbs, Swift, Judkins, Najee. Oh, got to put Najee and Gurendo on the list. We are going to find the one perfect team remaining in Best Ball Mania. Not So Narrowcast is asking why Jonathan Taylor is so bad. He is the highest advance rate player who is playing on the road at the Seattle Seahawks with Phillip Rivers as his quarterback. So there you go. I mean, yeah, obviously you'd really want to have McBride. Okay. Reed Taylor has Kaleb Williams, Bryce Young, Sam Darnold, 3 very live. He's got Gibbs, A-Chain, Pollard, Javonte, Ollie Gordon, JSN, Teteroy McMillan, Rashee Rice. Roma Dunze is a 0. So he is injured. He's probably not going to be back. So we're going to put Roma Dunze on there. Jay Hage, Dak and Fields. What do we think? Do we want Fields on there? You want Jonathan Taylor with Riley Leonard as his quarterback? He just got 9 points in a game where Riley Leonard was his quarterback. So respectfully disagree. Dak, Fields, Gibbs, Jacobs, Brees, and Tootin. All right. Pac fan says no Fields. Done. Removing Fields. All right. John R. 111. Dak, Stafford, and Rodgers. Gibbs, Judkins, Brian Robinson. Got to remove Braylon Allen. Can't have Braylon Allen on there. Bro, we are taxing the shit out of PD's website right now. Yeah, Tootin is basically in Siberia. Oh, thank you. Yep, Kyler as well. Got to remove Kyler Murray from this list. Not going to play again this season. Joe Burrow and Baker Mayfield. Wow, getting a Burrow team through is hard. They said that he is practicing today. Rashee Rice just got 5 points with Pat Mahomes as his quarterback. What? Jake's hate quest against Rashee Rice is truly one of the funniest things that happens in the Slappy Central Discord. The fact that Jake so passionately hates this guy is so funny. Burrow, Mayfield, Gibbs, A-Chain, Cook, Algier, Dowdle, Rashee Rice, Waddle, Myers, Igbuka, Bateman, Knoll, Michael Wilson, De'Ami Brown, Tutu, Kelsey, and Kincaid. Yeah, other than Tutu, it's pretty perfect. Okay, let's. You know what? I'm actually what I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove these 2 guys, and we're just going to look at the overall leaderboard without them. Because obviously, I mean, Gibbs and Rice we like, but it's not like they're locked in to 1 billion points this week or whatever. I mean, Hampton, I would say Hampton is one of the guys I think you'd most like to turn the cards over for. Yeah, I agree. Bucky definitely feels like someone you'd want. All right, in 23rd, B. Murray 32 has Allen, Dak, Gibbs, A-Chain, Cook, Javonte. You know what? I'm going to remove Justice Hill because he's hurt. We're going to remove Justice Hill, and we're going to remove Marshawn Lloyd from this list as well. And we are... Crazy thing is, I only hated him the second round, but I had to stand for something once everyone jumped on me. Many such cases, Jake. Doesn't Puka feel just as good as Gibbs? I would think no. Gibbs a way higher ceiling, but you know what can you do? All right, you has Dak, Herbert, Young, Gibbs, Henderson, Judkins, Javonte, Rashad White, Ladd, JSN, Tet, Pickens, MPJ, Quentin Johnston, Jalen Knoll, Dalton Schultz, Harold Fannin, and Will Dissly. All right, now we're getting into really, really good teams. I'm aware that JT is out, but JT is a horrible combination of highest advance rate and very low probability of being the guy you need this week. JT has his lowest projection of the season right now. Yeah, Daniels is dead. Yeah, Daniels is dead. Okay, we'll put Daniels on here. Jaden Daniels is dead on there. Good point. Yeah, Disley and Knoll are basically dead. It's just we're gonna see. All right. We are very much going to find out what type of I don't know, man. It's very interesting, right? Yeah, Kraft is on there. Oh yeah, Laporta. We'll put Laporta on there as well. Gonna nuke even more teams. I got Ertz on there. Yeah, Jalen Royals. Jalen Royals definitely not a guy. Imagine if Jalen Royals is who you need. Can you guys imagine the stink? That yes. A great reminder is that basically none of us are winning. I would assume the pods are going to come out tomorrow. I would assume it's Wednesday, December 10th, 12:41 p.m. Central Time. I would assume you're going to have some pods tomorrow. All right. NF42, I draft against this guy all the time. Herbert and Dak. Bijan, Trevion, Brian Robinson, Travis Etienne, Woody Marks, Taj Brooks with the 0 ball. Oh, Ridley is a good one. Yeah. Start 2, Pittman, Hampton, Trevion. Start Hampton and Trevion easily. There was a message on site when you said end of day. Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm trying not to break PD's website. Okay. What about Bowers on an advancing team with none of these dead guys? Josh Allen, Sam Darnold, CMC, Warren, Bigsby, Javonte. No, gotta remove Chubb. Gotta remove Chubb from the list. Chubb, another guy who's dead and not gonna play. I'm about to hop into one. Will probably literally right now. Gumby. Oh, our boy Gumby. That might not even be Badge Bros Gumby. Drake May, Jordan Love, Geno Smith, Gibbs, Pollard, Sharbs, Tootin. Honestly, Tootin is in the shadow realm. All right, let's go over to Underdog. I'm pretty sure that I've got the sidekick up and running, but I can't be positive. Legendary upside sidekick. I think I got it, but we're gonna find out. It's true. The BBM winner last year did have 3rd round Pacheco. Oh, it's not him. Oh, I should have taken off Jaden Blue and Miles Sanders. Yeah, very good call. All right, drafts. Restart the background script. All right, let's go get us a. You know what? Actually, let's do a summit draft. Disabled developer mode. I have developer mode on. I did not. Bros, what is developer mode? Is that an error on my part? Maybe I can enter it on my phone. How do I turn off developer mode? See, dude, this is the thing. I'm too stupid to use the sidekick. I know it's a Chrome setting, but I don't know. All right, we're gonna remove it. We're gonna remove it and uninstall it. See, this is why I should always do this stuff before I get on stream. I guess I could just go do it on Firefox. I gotta call Patty. I gotta call Patty on the sidekick hotline. All right, let me go to the Legendary Upside Discord real quick and install the new Firefox API. Firefox has been updated. Underdogfantasy.com. Log in. See if I can figure this out. Troubleshooting in real time. Yeah, I know what the dev mode is. Yeah, I'm gonna do it on Firefox. And I think I have I'm pretty sure I have the right version of it installed. We're gonna find out though. Window. All right, here we go. When did they release the 2026 pre-draft best ball drafts? Oh, buddy. They are going to have that out. It'll come out during the AFC or NFC conference championship game. All right, let's test drive this in the little mitten because I don't know if I have because I don't know if I'm gonna get the sidekick to work. Yes, and we will be there. I've already started my work on the rookies. So the answer to am I ready for the big board is yes. Maybe not 100% ready. Okay, I think I did this right. Yeah, there we go. Got it. Dude, people think I'm not good at tech. Look at that. Midstream installed the new sidekick update via the Legendary Upside Discord. Who would be the single piece you would most be excited to have advancing? I mean, I think it's Rashee Rice. I don't think it's a popular opinion, but I think it's Rashee Rice. Let me see if Mr. Sacklreligious is around. A couple out right now if you're around. All right, we're up first. It wants me to take Puka. Bang. Yeah, I think Puka. Oh, yeah, Bowers. Yeah, sorry, it's not Rice. It's definitely Bowers. Yeah, it's definitely Bowers. 0.5 PPR. Samson, P. Ryan, and Rashad White. Probably P. Ryan, honestly. I started P. Ryan in a deeper league last week. All right, so since last week, the Chiefs are undraftable. The Bills have definitely improved their outcomes. The Colts are dead. I still don't really want to draft the Chargers, and I definitely want to draft the Jaguars a little bit more than before. All right, here we go. So right now the projected standings are Rams 1 seed, Patriots 1 seed, Broncos, Jags, Steelers, Bills, Texans, Chargers, Packers, Eagles, Bucks, Seahawks, 49ers, Bears as the 7 seed. I don't know, man. I personally would not be starting Shedeur in fantasy football, but go with God. He was very good against the Texans. Okay, so the McCaffrey drafter took May. Cook and Jacobs is interesting. I guess you have to do that now because Josh Allen is going to be Cook Allen is basically not going to be possible in these contests. I think I'm done. I think I'm done on the Bears. I think that loss to the Eagle or that loss to last week was really bad for them in the standings. Yeah, it's just oh shit, Kyron went. I think I disagree with doing AJ Brown. I'm gonna take Stafford and then see what the updated recommendation is. It's like the worst projected playoffs of my life. All right, still wants me to now. Well, now it's saying Patriots. Because Hurts is still on the. We're gonna do Henderson. We drafted Phillip Rivers in playoff best ball, dude. Maybe. I don't know. What would you guys have done there? Would you have lined up the Eagles stuff to do another AFC team, or do you want to go all in on Rams Patriots with a second? Because what we can do is we can do Corum, and then we can do Hunter Henry, and then we can do a second AFC team. So we could do like 5 Jaguars, 5 Texans. I think AJB Hurts would have been fine there. I don't think one quarterback in playoff best ball has ever been optimal. I think if I was making a rule of thumb, I would say 3 is better than 1, but 2 is probably best. Yeah, it always becomes Jaguars or Chargers after this point. I think you're right. I don't think I IKB'd right there. I think I just went a slightly different construction. Yeah, the Rams are like locked in to be the 1 seed. Can the Packers even realistically catch them? So for the Packers to be the number 1 seed and bye, they're 18%. If they win out, they're only 60%. Yeah, if they win out, they're only 6. So I think you just treat the Rams and the Patriots like they're getting the bye. Patriots run in on that side of the bracket. If we go Patriots 1 seed and the bye. So let's say they lose to the Bills, beat the Ravens, beat the Jets, beat the Dolphins. Yeah, Patriots are getting the bye. Of course, Tolan. I can always see you, brother. I would say Rams are better than a coin flip for the 1 seed right now. Okay. So my option is to take Devonta, and split it up. I guess if the Seahawks beat the Rams, they get the 1 seed, but I just don't see that happening. You gotta make some judgment calls in playoff basketball or on a given team. So I'm playing this one like the Rams do get the bye. So what I'm gonna do, yeah, you know what? We're just gonna learn Jaguars here. We're gonna hope the Jaguars score a bunch of fantasy points in the first round. Yeah, now it wants me to take Corum, rightfully so. Did you guys ever think you'd see Blake Corum as the running back 11? The Seahawks are favored in that game. I guess the Rams could lose. I don't know. I mean, I hope the Rams lose because I would like to take the Lions in playoff best ball. The Lions are like a way better fantasy team. Man, my Phillip Rivers tweet is going viral right now, and people are arguing and mad at me. I mean, if you're drafting a Rams team, you just have to make sure you have at least a 5-man roster in week 1. The thing about the Rams is that you cannot any longer do Puka, Stafford, Kyren, or you can't get 3 of the Rams. You can only get 2 of the Rams. I don't feel that rested, Tolan. I feel after I'm done here, I'm probably gonna try and get like 30 minutes of sleep, actually. Packers sneaky 1 seed potential. Didn't even really think about that. So if the Packers for the 1 seed. All right, I have a gift for you guys, but Sacklreligious is going to hop on with us here in a second. So for the Packers to get the 1 seed, they beat the Broncos, they beat the Bears, they beat the Vikings. They are 60%. Let's run more sims. Run it again. Let's run 20,000 sims. Can we get the number to change? How many times do we have to run the sim to get the number to change? Not enough times. If the Lions lose to the Rams, but then the win last 3 they're in based on who they would be beating. I think the people are, well, I'm saying the Rams are a lock because they're big time favored to get the 1 seed in the bye. So to get the 1 seed in the bye, they're currently 48%. If they beat the Lions and beat the Seahawks, even if they lose to the Lions and then win out, they're 80%, 82%. Well, but so by mixing it up, you are not losing any equity by adding in a second quarterback. The only way you can lose equity on these teams is by a team unsurprisingly getting the bye. Lawrence, I was going to say Lawrence is the more important one to get because if you don't get him, you don't have a quarterback. So if this makes sense, let me try and explain this. So if you draft a team like the Rams get the 1 seed and they don't, that actually improves the equity of your team. But if you draft the Rams like they are the 2 seed and they get the 1 seed, your team is dead. Am I going to take CMC at 1 next season? No. I'm assuming isn't Jahmyr Gibbs the 1 next year? I would assume Jahmyr Gibbs is the 1 seed. We are talking about a team. Okay. I wonder what % of teams have made it through like a 2-6. It's definitely possible. It can definitely happen if you get like I think if you had gotten Ladd. Have you considered writing long form on the NFL's quarterback problem? If you did, I would consider reading it. No, I have not considered it, but I guess I could. I could write that on the Patreon. My God, dude, I'm not even gonna have time to go argue with all these people in the. I'm not gonna have time to argue with all these people in the comments. All right, so you take Jakobi Meyers, and then shouldn't I add in because I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I should consider adding an NFC wide receiver. All right. Well, Sack is here, so I'm not going to disagree, but I think I should consider adding an NFC wide receiver. What's up, dude?
Hey, how's it going?
Living the dream, man. We got the kick working. We're drafting. We're feeling great.
Nice. Yeah, I've been having fun on Underdog. DraftKings, I felt like I was getting too many bullets in too early, so I'm happy to slow down on there for a little bit.
Yeah, I haven't even started yet, but my mic just dropped. I actually just got an email from our friends over at DraftKings that they're going to be doing like a playoff best ball like push like initiative. So I think I'm going to be streaming a bunch of the DraftKings stuff.
Yeah, I'm not surprised that they are going to do that given the size of their contest. I would expect pretty significant overlay in that, unless they're just giving away tons of free tickets. And so if you haven't done DK yet, I would definitely recommend getting a few in right now. Like don't, shoot your whole wad, but get something like 10 in right now, just so you get some exposure to the current landscape. Because I think there's some stuff that's going to change where later you won't have access to it, but it wouldn't be the worst idea in the world to hold some back for when they're running promos and stuff like that.
Yeah. So I guess the Jacksonville Jaguars are the new wave. I currently am hoping that Jakobi Meyers is the Ladd McConkey now. I think that's going to be my new rooting interest. I was actually taking Jags a ton at the end of the way too early wild card because I wanted to stop taking Chiefs teams, although I still have a lot of Chiefs teams in that contest.
Yeah, the sidekick was slamming Jags near the end of that contest, and I kept scoffing at it. I was like, why am I slamming so many Jags here? And I'm glad that I did not IKB it too hard there. So I have a good amount of Jags in the way too early stuff where they were mostly undrafted, getting a decent amount of them now. The problem is the player pool has condensed quite a bit. And I just feel like the teams this year, like the playoff teams, are really condensed with like there's a couple of good players and then there's a lot of nothing. So it's been interesting.
Yes. So the big difference in playoff best ball this year versus every other year of best ball is that the Chiefs are not in it. So the team that everyone knows is going to make the AFC is not in it. So what that also means is that no one really wants to take the 7 seed, the 6 seed, the 5 seed, because they're like, well, the Bills are just going to win it now. So there's not even 2 dominant AFC teams. There's just 1 dominant AFC team, and that really dwindles the options on the AFC side.
Yeah, the Bills basically only having 2 players that score fantasy points.
That's the other thing. Yeah. Why does the sidekick not want me to take an NFC team here, like a Charbonnet or whatever?
I would assume it's because when you get into because Trevor Lawrence is your only quarterback here, or do you have Stafford?
No, I've got Stafford too.
And you have, let's see, 1, 2, 3 receivers, 1, 2. So this is when you get into a Jacksonville Super Bowl, adding Tootin as an out where he's a player that will have some projection. It's not going to be a huge projection, but like when you get to the Super Bowl, a guy who even projects for 5 is like solid, right? You're like, yes, I've got a guy who's projecting for greater than 1 point. And so having an additional set of combos where it's like, hey, I could have Tootin replace Strange, or Tootin replace Brian Thomas, or Jacoby Myers, or Travis Etienne. That's like a whole extra lot of teams that you now cover as the optimal when Jacksonville gets there. And so it's just that when you get Jacksonville there, you have so much more expected value. It's kind of, think of it as like slices of the pie of like when this team makes the Super Bowl, how much pie do you get to eat? And so if you throw on like, say, a Charbonnet there, how much pie do you get to eat when the Seahawks make the Super Bowl? Fucking almost none. You know, like you're only constrained to, well, the Jags are the nuts, and then Charbonnet's the one that runs for touchdown. So it's like you add a small slice of pie, but with the Jags, it's like you already have so much Jags pie that adding a big piece there is more helpful to your expected value. That was a thing that was a little hard for me initially with the Sims. I'm like, oh, but I want additional Super Bowls. And it's like, not really, man. There's not really a difference between, like, hypothetically, pretend that Charbonnet and Tootin, we saw the future and we knew they projected for the exact same points. It doesn't really matter. There's going to be a very small amount of correlation on Tootin relative to the other Jags pieces. I think people kind of overblow the amount of correlation, like negative correlation a running back has. Really, the only like negative correlation a running back has is typically to the other running backs on their team, and even then, it's not even much. It's probably just neutral after you get the game total in there. So, yeah, I think throwing in Tootin there does make a lot of sense, just because you don't really add a ton when you get Charbonnet in there, because you're not even, that team is only making lots of money when Jags make the Super Bowl anyway, right? And so to add on like another leg to that parlay and be like Jags and the Seahawks make the Super Bowl is just, you've reduced, the path so much that it doesn't add a ton.
I guess, so what I would be thinking is that the EV of adding Tootin on an ETN team versus adding like Jameson Williams was still there, the like narrow path of the time that the Lions make the postseason and then make the NFC Conference Championship is like, well, at least you're getting more of an advance rate there versus a 6th Jaguar. That's just, I'm not even saying I'm right, but that would just be my thought.
Yeah, I think the Lions just make it too infrequently right now, and we're like, for the record, we're really high on Lions. As far as like how strong are the Lions as a team, we've got them as like the 4th best team in the NFL right now. Like if you were just matching teams up on neutral fields, we think the Lions are better than everybody but the top 3 teams. So like we're not selling them short. We still only have them with like a sub 50% chance to make the playoffs. Ooh, you want some alpha? I got some really sick alpha actually. For anyone out there that is like a hopeless Lions drafter, where you're like, I need to draft them still though. They project for so many points. What if they make it? Here's where you're allowed to draft Lions. You're allowed to draft Lions when you draft the Rams. Why is that?
You're allowed to draft the line because I would assume it has something to do with the way that their path to the playoff works, that like they're linked in a certain way.
Because the Rams and the Lions play each other, and the Lions need to win that game to make it into the playoffs, and a Rams loss decreases their bye probability. So what you effectively are doing then is you're playing Rams no bye, Lions make the playoffs, which then allows you to do stuff. I've seen it. It hadn't clicked for me until the Sims recommended it, but I had a Patriots Rams build. And I was like, how is the sidekick going to land this? Because I don't have any points yet for the first round. And it started doing Lions. And I was like, God, I mean, aren't I dead if the Lions don't make the playoffs? It's like, buddy, you're dead if the Rams get the bye. So you need to play for the Rams not getting the bye. So you build Lions Rams. Now you're going to advance pretty easily because you have Jahmyr Gibbs and Amon-Ra that you got for free. Plus you have Puka, who's now active in round 1, and Kyron and Matthew Stafford. And so you end up with this monster team to advance out of round 1, and you play it through sneaking the AFC bye team through. So sneaking Patriots through. I would assume that the Sims like it as well with other high bye probability AFC. So they'd probably like it with Denver. But yeah, that was a really cool wrinkle. So I've been getting some Rams Lions, and I haven't really seen any other people do that yet. So happy to ruin that edge here, but anyone in the chat that wants to go, slam that, I think that's a pretty sharp way to do it.
I like drafting the Lions as a secondary NFC team anyways, because in the event that the Lions do make the postseason, they are at least a very good fantasy team. So they are just like, because something I think about with a lot of these teams is, okay, like let's say like the Steelers last year. Like the sidekick really liked the Steelers. I didn't like the Steelers all that much. Part of the problem with the Steelers is they don't score any fantasy points. Like they could very easily win a postseason game, maybe even 2 postseason games.
That'd be so gross.
In a world where they win their first postseason game, they might not have a player top 20 fantasy points, including the quarterback. Might not have a player top 15. Might not have a player get and my new thing is I actually agree with Sus here big time. I think the number 1 team to target right now is the 49ers, because the 49ers are going to make the postseason, could very easily beat the Rams, could very easily beat the Eagles, and score a shit ton of fantasy points. So like good advance rate pieces. I think their Super Bowl equity is better than the market. Like I would be higher on them than their current conference championship odds relative to the field. Because I think part of the issue with the 49ers data, like all their yards per play data and everything, is they've been horribly banged up on both sides of the ball all year. The defense is probably not going to get better. The offense is fully healthy. Is Trent Williams playing? I don't even. I don't know. Please don't make me actually check that in real time. But if Trent Williams is playing, that obviously is a big part of it as well. We got a comment though that I want to wind you up and set you off on, which is thoughts on the new Gauntlet structure, because this is the first year they've done it 1 out of 6, and
really
how that
good.
could change. Yeah. So what are your thoughts on the new Gauntlet structure?
I don't particularly care about the difference between 1 of 6, 2 of 6. It's just different strategy. I will say I would prefer that if, in the future, and the good folks over at Underdog have already heard this feedback, and I think that it'll be addressed next year. In the future, if we do have 2 different types of advanced structure in the lobby, 1 of 6 and 2 of 6, the ADPs should be different, because it's you'll notice, like, do a pure top guy draft in the Little Mitten and do a pure top guy draft in the Gauntlet, and watch how much less the Sims are into Rams, Patriots in the Gauntlet than they are in the 2 of 6. In the 2 of 6, they're like oh yeah, buy team ain't no thing. Like let's go ahead and get this through. But in the Gauntlet, and on DK especially, where DK has the additional constraint of you need a starting tight end and you need an additional player, it gets really hard to advance buy teams there. So having two separate ADPs would be good. It is something where you could probably exploit it because there's going to be more volume overall done in the 2 of 6 just by sheer nature of how many drafts there are, right? There's 90,000 entrants in the Gauntlet. How many are in the Mitten?
A lot of teams in the Mitten.
Mitten
11. Yeah.
And then you also have the Little Mitten. I haven't looked at the structure on the high stakes stuff yet, but basically you're getting, call it at least 2 to 1, where the ADP is going to get skewed by the 2 of 6 as opposed to the 1 of 6. If the market were playing optimally, that would mean that the buy teams would be going earlier, and some players that are more advanced rate pieces like Nico Collins and the Jags and things like that, where it's like there's a path, but it's thinner, would be going later. I don't know that the market particularly, I think the market's still deciding which flavor crayon is best. So I don't think it changes very much, but just something to note as you're drafting between the two different kinds of contests. I did pull up our 49ers conference championship odds in our season-long sims. Just wanted to see how you've got them calibrated. So I'm going to give you a couple teams. You tell me more or less likely than the 49ers to show up in the conference championship. So we're going to start opposite conference. Texans, more or less likely than 49ers.
I assume the market has the Texans ahead. I would say I disagree, and also I don't care. Like, if the Texans make the Super Bowl, I'm just happy to not win the Gauntlet that year. Like, I just because the Texans' path is the type of team that is really likely to show up is going to be with full of round 1 shitters. Texans team gets to the Super Bowl, you're going to had to have had I don't know. You're going to had to have had Jacoby Myers, who lost in round 1 or something like that, which is just not how I tend to skew away from teams that I think are really unlikely to make the conference championship.
So we do have Texans lower than the 49ers in our probability. What about Eagles versus 49ers?
Eagles, I would assume the 49ers or the Eagles are way ahead in the probability.
Just barely, actually. Eagles, we've got just about 23%. 49ers, you've got around 20% to show up in the conference championship. So 49ers, we do think, are a pretty good bet. We also very much like CMC. We think that given the landscape, even if the 49ers don't make the conference championship, even if you just get one game out of CMC, of course you'd prefer more, but just one game out of CMC, is it all that hard to, in your third eye, envision that no CMC, no money in playoff best ball this year because he drops 38 in a loss?
No, he could be the lad so easy.
Like Kyle Shanahan, out of his desperate 49ers are down 14 in the fourth quarter with 10 minutes left. CMC sees 12 more targets before the end of the game. Kyle Shanahan, he will make sure that CMC goes out on his shield if the 49ers are at risk of not making it further in the playoffs. So he's one where we like a lot. One that the Sidekick really likes. I think the best spots to draft right now are at the end of the room, like the 5 and the 6 spot. Because some of the players we really like CMC. We really like Josh Jacobs. We're pretty into James Cook, and we're pretty into Saquon Barkley. And all of those can open up really any combination, 2 of those 4 open up really sick combos that you can get back in the 3rd round, where it's not a huge fall that's required to get you a pretty unique stack and one that's going to project really strongly to advance. And then that's opened up where it's like, hey, I shouldn't have a problem filling out a reasonably strong Super Bowl roster for whatever gets back to me. If you get a James Cook, Saquon Barkley, there are rooms where you can get Jalen Hurts back. That's pretty good. Or you end up with the CMC Josh Jacobs. You have 3 very good outs, 2 of which are you're safe. You are not going to get sniped on Brock Purdy or Jordan Love, right? And you're basically never losing the second most important skill position piece on those teams. Christian Watson's always going to be there. George Kittle's always going to be there in the 3rd round, right? And so you've got those as your cozy, I didn't crash the plane type outcomes. And then you've also got Drake May makes it back to me as my nut outcome. Or you can even go into Broncos and be like, hey, I'm just going to have 3 very good running backs. I'll get RJ Harvey here and tap Bo Nix around the turn. So I really like the 5 and 6 spots right now. Those are probably my 2 favorite spots to draft in.
How are you feeling about your Denver Broncos now that they are more expensive?
I mean, they're still not expensive enough. So I like them. Here's the problem. The second round, if you go by ADP, the second round is basically full of trap picks in a lot of outcomes. There are some paths where the second round is, these are the logical guys that I need to keep going down the path that I'm building.
Right.
But there are a lot of other outcomes where you've taken JSN and some of the pieces that would logically fit with him go off the board. And all of a sudden the second round is like, I mean, like maybe I just take Drake May here, or maybe I end,
right.
So you end up with a spot where if you're adhering too much to ADP, you end up with a pick. And we've been looking at this with, the actual sim results where it's like, hey, all of these second round picks are negative EV in your sim EV.
Right.
And so it just being, I think that as people get more comfy with playoff best ball and get more reps in the current slate, just because the dynamics are so different every single year with the teams that are there. But when people get more comfy and are willing to stay in their lanes a little bit more and just let the stuff, like, dude, there was a draft today where I let Jalen Hurts go. Like he came back to me in the 4th round, didn't have him. I had Drake May. So like he very much could have been a advance me through the bye type quarterback. But it's like, why do I take Jalen Hurts here when I could get Brock Purdy later? And like, are we really that certain that Jalen Hurts is outscoring Brock Purdy at such a high frequency of the time that I need to be doing that? Right. And so there's just no need to jump on these ADP values. Right. So Jalen Hurts, Devonta Smith fell to like the 5th and 6th round in that draft. And he came back finally. And it was like, all right, I've got enough Patriots where I'm going to get 2 of the remaining Hunter Henry, Ramondre Stevenson, Kayshon Boutte without any real issue. No one's sniping those from me. So let's take Jalen Hurts here. And then whichever of these guys come back. Now Hurts is an advance rate piece for me, but I got him pretty cheap. And then I also have that little additional equity because I got to 4 Patriots skill position players where if it is Eagles Patriots Super Bowl, I can also have both quarterbacks covered where if Hurts goes crazy, it's all tush pushes. I've got that outcome covered. So
yeah. All right, let's hop in and let's go do one. Let's hop in a mitten here. And let's find ourselves a shipper.
Yeah, my just if you're doing a lot of volume in this stuff, I think a good rule of thumb is don't slam all your entries in 1 week. Don't because the way that the sims are diversifying you will get different teams drafting in the same window. But if you drafted, say, 60 of your, gauntlet bullets right now, you're going to get a lot of similar paths because the probabilities are similar right now. And if you just wait a week for us to have additional information, you're going to get a whole different set of teams that you're drafting. The market moves, the probabilities move. And I just feel very confident that, the edge will remain regardless of the additional information that the market incorporates. The market will not incorporate it perfectly. So you can be pretty confident that you have an edge in every window. And so spreading your drafts out across windows are a good way to mitigate some of that risk. Just if you've got such a big edge, it's like, why would you put all your eggs in one basket? And so the same kind of goes for spreading out how you're drafting in the tournaments, where I'll basically do 1 gauntlet, then come up and take a breather, do a mitten, do a little mitten. And that's ideally kind of my rotation and how it's going to be going forward, where I'm basically just like dropping 1 in the bucket of each tournament when I do a session. And I'll kind of do that and get my set done and try and hit my target for the draft window that I'm drafting in.
Yeah. I mean, I think that actually can't be overstated, which is you want to be able to update your priors based on you could be right that the Lions are a really good bet right now, but if it's an oblong leather ball, sometimes it bounces the wrong way and they lose a couple games and you're like, well, shit, even though that was the right strategic approach to do, 20% of my teams are dead because I jammed them at the wrong time. JSN over Devonta. I mean, I guess the Seahawks are the one that is the hardest for me to stomach because I'm just
There's a big cliff at receiver projection. And so getting a guy who is very likely to be active in round 1 and is the favorite to be projected as the highest scoring player in the receiver position in round 1 is very good. So you don't even need to be playing for Seahawks Super Bowl. You certainly can. But I've had lots of builds where JSN, is just the thing that's getting a weaker wide receiver room through for Patriots, because Patriots just don't have receivers that score points, or it's getting it through for. I've actually had I've seen Josh Allen fall to the end of the first round. I've seen a Josh Allen JSN. I'm like, that is a really cool pairing, because you don't want any Bills receiver. Like, why would you draft a Bills receiver? And so getting JSN there to basically be like, this is the guy that scores the points until the Super Bowl happens, and then I'll have whatever loser for the Bills does stuff for me.
Okay. Barkley, Kyron. I guess it's Barkley because we're going to be able to set up the Eagles stuff really easy. When you do these double NFC starts, are you like, okay, this is going to be a Chargers team, this is going to be a Jaguars team later?
No, you have a bunch of outs here. So you're like, you could go into Eagles because Eagles just fall sometimes, where you can get the majority of the good pieces. You can go into Broncos still from the spot, right? Like it wouldn't be terrible if, for whatever, Kyron's going to go, probably Hurts probably goes, or Hurts could go. I don't know that Travion goes. Sometimes he goes to this Puka drafter, but with the guy taking May and Stafford being gone, I don't know that this guy wants to box himself into that. So he takes Harvey. But yeah, Harvey's another out for us where we can just play it through that side.
The Broncos bags are getting heavy. I mean, it's easy to take Hurts here. We're probably not going to get sniped on him.
I was going to say, you can be greedy and push it if you really want to on AJ Brown. Is this AJ a gauntlet or a mitten?
Mitten.
Okay. Let's see. So we're the 2 of 6.
Yes, big difference. So 2 of 6 it advances. 2 of 6, 1 of 10, 1 of 10. 3
yeah, so you'll ultimately want more nutted teams in the finals then as well, right? Like the combos are going to be easier to get through, even if they don't score as well in the early rounds. So I do think trying to get greedy here is not the worst thing in the world. This guy takes Hurts for us, not the end of the world, because we actually can do a diabolical thing here. If we want to ruin the guy in the one hole's day, you can do Bo Nix. But if you don't want to do Bo Nix, you can be set up to. And this is
I don't like taking Bo Nix without Harvey, if that makes sense, because it feels like them succeeding. It's so based on the run game.
Well, no, think of your pie. Think of your pie though that you have here. You have Eagles pie, where you have the 2 best projected skill position players. And it's going to be very easy for you to get Seahawks pie. The combined probability of those 2 teams making the conference championship is a little over 50%. So you're sacrificing some equity, because if you have Harvey, you're getting 100% of that Broncos pie, right? But we could also throw in something later. Like we could probably throw in who's some NFC team that. Yeah, we probably actually stop at this on the NFC side, where we just end up with Eagles, Seahawks, and we end up with this slightly diminished Broncos pie. But shoot, we're getting basically, a little over 50% of the Broncos Super Bowl appearance. They make it to the conference championship 42% of the time, according to our Sims. And so that's still, you cut that in half, just say theoretically, you're getting 21% of the time. That's still basically as good as Philly, San Francisco, right, on their own. And so this is still a very viable path. We get the guy in the one hole to end up pivoting into the Lions stuff. I think that's really sharp with the Rams, where basically you end up playing for a Rams loss, but Pook is the guy you need. And then you can do something like Lions and Broncos. And now Ken Walker is like a no-brainer for us, because we need that running back to cement that other pie slice for us in those Broncos outcomes. And we don't particularly care about what loser pass catchers we take on the Broncos.
Nothing like having a 50K sweat on Pat Bryant. So now it wants us to take Walker. I think Hurts went. Where did Hurts? Okay, Hurts. Yeah, Hurts went. Yeah. Well, all right. We auto picked Ken Walker
Yeah, if Hurts had come back to us, we obviously take him over Bo Nix there, but Bo Nix is like the next best thing. And if you really dislike the Broncos, then that is when you get into like, all right, I call me Jaguars, man. And you know, you take Dallas Goedert and Ken Walker there instead of Bo Nix, and then you're starting with Jaguars in the 6th round here. But
the Jaguars, I can at least sell, like, unlike the Broncos, the Jaguars I can at least sell myself on in terms of like, well, I'll get my $5 or my $25 back because there's like a really good chance they score fantasy points in a loss. Whereas like the Broncos, I'm like, dude, if the Broncos get shit canned in round 1, they're like, no one on the team's getting better than 9 points if they lose. Like Bo Nix is like throwing 3 interceptions. Troy Franklin has 1 target. Jaleel McLaughlin leads the backfield in rushing yards. Like it's like so bad.
Yeah, it could be gross. I was getting a Jaleel McLaughlin recommendation the other day. Yeah, I think Darnold's fine here. The other thing I would consider is Franklin, just because I don't think we're going to get contested on Darnold, and I'm worried we get sniped on Franklin. Now what the Sims are going to actually want you to do is they're going to say, dude, you have nutted Seahawks, so let's just go, Seahawks to the Super Bowl, which is, that is your highest EV now that you get Darnold. But basically the Darnold spot is the kind of the pivot point, where it's like, which of these 2 paths is highest EV for you to focus on? And now it's Seahawks, where before it could have been Broncos. Basically, it was like 2 paths diverged in a wood. Did you want Troy Franklin or Sam Darnold?
I think we want both. Well, what we want now is we want both. We want Franklin, and we are not going to be contested.
No, you're not getting sniped on Charbonnet or Shaheed or Cup or
yes.
AJ Longyer.
I even if it is the EV, I think this is where you have to know how to drive the truck.
Yep.
And you have to decide that you're going to take Franklin, and then it's not going to change the recommendation, right? Well, maybe it will. Maybe it'll tell me to take Pat Bryant now.
I don't think it will. I think Pat Bryant will still be lower. Yeah, it's going to like the Seahawks stuff better. So yeah, I think you're in a pretty sweet spot here. The reason that it probably prefers the Seahawks side here as opposed to Pat Bryant is that the Seahawks are less likely to get the bye than the Broncos. Broncos, we've got 38% to get the bye, Seahawks 24%. And so the Sims are like, hey, both of these, roughly similar conference championship odds, or well, Denver's higher, but it's like, who really cares? And then you end up with, you're so much more likely to advance out of round 1, adding more Seahawks players as opposed to adding more Broncos players. But
yeah. Do you worry that the Seahawks are kind of Billsy and that they just don't score enough fantasy points? Like, are you trying to like add more? Like Broncos and Seahawks are kind of a rough pairing actually, because they're 2 kind of low fantasy point advance rate teams.
I think that when you think through like the outcomes that have to happen for them to win, I think that what you're looking at is the Seahawks in wins oftentimes are doing so on explosives from play action, right? And so you're probably getting some decent Darnold points. The Seahawks it's like when these teams lose, I'm fully with you. Like, yeah, the fantasy points are not there. But when both of these teams win, they're usually putting up points. The Broncos sometimes will do it in this like disgusting, we just have decided that offense isn't a phase of the game we'll play this week type of way. But even in the worst Seahawks games, it's like they still put points on the board. Sometimes it's just not going to be the passing game. And so that's why it is nice to have both Walker and Sharbs, because the threshold you need to hit to score to advance in these, especially in a 2 of 6, is just not as high as you would think it is. And so getting like 10 points from a Zach Charbonnet can be awesome, where you're like, dude, one touchdown and, a handful of yards and a couple catches, like that's all I need. So,
and I guess the other thing is like, we, obviously like we have no idea what teams are going to be there in round 2 or round 3. You have no idea your pod. Like sometimes you can be the only one in your pod who can fill out a roster. In fact, that probably happens all the time in the 3rd round, not the 2nd round, but it probably happens with like a pretty decent frequency in the 3rd round, in the conference championship round.
Yeah. My first season really doing volume in playoff best ball, which feels so long ago now, I noticed that phenomenon when I was checking my pods, where I'm like, I'm in the 3rd round, and simply because I've gotten the conference championship teams right, I'm like 80% to advance out of this spot. I'm like 90% to advance out of this one. I'm literally 100%. I'm guaranteed to advance out of this one. This one, remind me, let me see how many Broncos we have. We have Knicks, running back.
We need one more, because if we do one more, it gives us
we get the Eagles side. Yeah.
We get the Eagles side.
Yeah. Yeah. I would do Pat Bryant here. We have a little bit more equity in the Seahawks side, where when we do get to the Seahawks Super Bowl, Cooper Kupp's covering so many. Think of how many players we have when it's Denver, Seattle. We've got a lot of combos there. And then when we just get pure Seattle, where no Denver, Kupp covers a lot more combos for us there. So I get why the Sims like that. But I'm pretty Pat Bryant pilled. I'm totally fine IK being that there. And I think that the Sims would flip that back and forth. I think between Barner, Kupp, and Pat Bryant, you'd probably see those all mix a little bit. And I wouldn't even be surprised if you saw like another random AFC piece, like a Jacoby Myers or even like a Jalen Warren or DK Metcalf. Like any of those would make sense to me too there.
Yeah. Will the dead third round team phenomenon happen more or less this year with a greater parity of contender? I assume it will happen at the same degree, because it's more a reflection of the variance of how teams are constructed. Like, there can still only be 4 teams active in the conference championship, and there are 14 teams being drafted.
Another big part of it is if one of the 1 seeds is there active in the third round, if 2 of the 1 seeds are there, or if 0 of the 1 seeds are there. That's a huge factor in how many dead teams there are, simply because it is harder to advance those 1 seeds. And so if both 1 seeds are there, you end up with fewer teams that can end up fielding a full roster. That's just kind of the way that it goes.
Yeah. All right, let's do 1 out of 6 now. Let's hop in a gauntlet and see if we can find a shipper here. I probably won't max the gauntlet, so actually probably all my gauntlet ones will be on stream. Yeah. I mean, the lad stuff, like, you know what, there are how many games are there in the wild card round? What, there are 6 games total in the wild card round. So what are the chances that one player scores 10 more points than every other player in a 6-game slate? Like, whatever the mathematical thing of that is.
I mean, think about it. It basically happens every year. Like, there's the Gabe Davis season, there's the Jake Ferguson season. It happens every year, man. I think Aaron Jones.
Davis one was in the divisional round, though, which changes the math on.
But the fact that it occurred, like it could occur at any point. And yeah, you get the Jake Ferguson, you get the Aaron Jones. Like, these things just happen. So, we definitely can have a year where it's like, oh, everyone was scoring was, flat among the top guys. Like, no one really separated. But that's just like one of the natural phenomenons. It's what makes the game really beautiful, and what makes it a very good game to be solving with simulations, because you can quantify the frequency at which those events occur, and then what to do.
See, my grandkids are not going to know about the Jake Ferguson week, because that one hit me square in the mouth, because I had a ton of Jake Ferguson. My kids are going to know about the Lad McConkey one, because I had none of that, dude. So they're going to be hearing about my Lad McConkey bad beats. I agree. Probably no one is drafting 1 seed versus 1 seed correct right now. Like, a very small chunk of the field, I would guess.
So here's the thing. It depends on what your definition of correct is, because it is right now the like mathematically correct way to draft. And I assume that you're saying Rams and Patriots because they're the 2 highest probability to get the bye. The mathematically correct way to draft that, oftentimes, given you have all the parameters of like the contest structure and advance rate, all that type of stuff, right? But is at least some frequency to pretend that those teams do not get the bye, or at least one of them doesn't get the bye, or you're stacking both of them and saying the probability of both of these teams getting the bye, because they're mostly uncorrelated events, they're both less than 50% right now, but let's just pretend they're 50, just to have nice round numbers. The probability of both of them getting the bye then is 25% if you pretend they're purely uncorrelated. And so if you're saying, oh my God, you have to have Patriots and Rams like they're playing a bye. If you're doing Rams Patriots and you're not treating it like a bye, you're trolling. It's like, no, you're trolling to exclusively treat it like those teams get the bye when you're drafting them in conjunction together, because you are you're basically doing a thing where it feels comfier now because you have a team that's not dead round one, in exchange for having a team that probably can't actually win if one of those teams doesn't get the bye and they make the Super Bowl. And then you're there with just your 5 Patriots Rams pieces. I got my Puka Nacua, my Drake May, Ramondre Stevenson, Kayshon Boutte, and Demario Douglas. And I've got all the really good advance rate pieces I drafted early because I was so smart to plan for that. And then you show up to a guy who has literally all 5 of the best Patriots projecting pieces, and Kyron and Puka, and Matt Stafford too, because he can, and you're just smoked.
So I like doing Patriots from here as opposed to trying to do 2 NFC because it's so easy to get 5 49ers that you can do like multiple.
Yeah, you can. I do really like the Saquon stuff from here as well, but I'm pretty Drake May pilled. I basically, in the 1 of 6 stuff, because it's so much harder to advance, if Drake May is ever 2nd or 3rd top guy, I'm at the very least considering an IKB, because I'm pretty, like, if you want my ball knower take, I think that the Patriots are even higher. Right now, we've got them 49% to make the conference championship. I don't think there's a team that really gives them trouble other than, like, I think the Texans and the Broncos are actually the biggest trouble for the Patriots. Built like, everyone's going to learn on Sunday, and this will be great. Like, I'll have to, if this blows up in my face, I'll have to make another appearance so chat can roast me. But when the Patriots hang dong on Josh Allen for the 2nd time in a season, and it becomes very apparent to the Buffalo Bills that they will not be making the Super Bowl this year because all roads go through the Patriots and they do not have what it takes to beat that team. And also, they're playing the team without their best players. Like, they're playing the team without their 1st-round tackle. They're playing the team without their largest offseason acquisition on the defensive line, Milton Williams, who's been phenomenal this year. Like, when the Patriots become full strength, when the Death Star is fully operational, it's going to be bad news. I think the Bills are, like, really set up to get worked by this team. So if the Patriots can get it done, it's going to be a really fun spot.
I think it's more annoying for us to lose Kittle, and the guy right of us could definitely take him, but shouldn't take Diggs.
Yeah, I don't think either are particularly likely to be taken, so it's fine to take Kittle here.
It's just it ruins the 5 good 49ers if he's taken, and if we miss on Diggs, there's mini pivots for us to do. I think is the way I think about it. But this guy has James Cook and he has Jacobs, so he could be doing a 3 Packers 340, like if he wanted 3 Packers 3 49ers.
Yeah.
Dalton Kincaid, man, what a world. All right, so we get Diggs. So now it wants us to take Hurts, which
it's looking at Hurts as the advance rate thing. I'm fine passing on it to secure Diggs here. It's because you're one of 6 though, right?
Yep.
And so in a 2 of 6, it probably cares less. And it's like, yeah, you can get Brock Purdy, and the difference between Purdy and Hurts later, maybe not so huge. But in this, it's like, ooh, man, any little shred of points we can get is going to be pretty important in 1 of 6. This is a thing where it also comes down to reading your room, because the sidekick is not looking at people in your room who might be drafting teams that are much harder for them to actually advance, or much, just powerhouse teams with all round 1 pieces. So it's a thing where you kind of want to calibrate that and be like, actually, sidekick, it's not going to be a problem to advance. I'll be okay. Or, hey, sidekick, I'm pretty worried about advancing. I'll listen to your recommendation and take Jalen Hurts here. I think both are totally fine decisions here. And I would expect that the sidekick shifts back and forth, just because the way that we are delivering rankings to you is we are sampling from a large subset of sims, or from a large set of sims, and we're giving you a smaller subset. And so you'll naturally get some variation in the rankings that you get there, because players can do better in certain sets of sims, or teams can lose in certain sets of sims, or in other ones they make the run all the way to the Super Bowl. And it's a very large number of them. So those things can change.
Yeah. Real early on ETN here. I guess.
I think this is a great spot this is what Travis Etienne was made for.
Yeah, I guess the price of the brick done gone up.
I mean, you're in 1 of 6 land now, baby, and we need some points. So now though, it's like, fuck yes, we have CMC, ETN, Kittle. We really just need like a wide receiver that's going to get us some points, and a quarterback that's going to get us some points if the Patriots get the bye, and we're cruising, and then we can fill out some Patriot stuff later. And that's exactly, if you look at the Sims, it's like, okay, Brock Purdy and Jennings or Trevor Lawrence if you miss out on Purdy, and then we start with the Ramondre Stevenson stuff. So this looks pretty perfect for us. I like your call to IKB into Drake May, because it got us into a pretty good path here.
That's just my experience in the rooms, is that is an easier way to do it, because like you mentioned, like those round 2 picks are all just kind of flat, and the ADP for the second round just hasn't had a chance to mature yet. Like the first round ADP is pretty set and pretty baked. In 2 weeks, the second round will go the same way every time. Like you'll get your draft slot and you'll be like, all right, well, I have these 2 players to start. What do I do from there?
The one thing I would say, where it is worth, I wouldn't always IKB to Drake May in this spot. I do want some CMC Saquon teams, is that there are times where you get Hurts to come all the way back in the third, or you get Bo Nix with no Broncos off the board, or you get Drake May all the way back in the third, right? Like those things, I've seen all of those things happen in different rooms. And so you don't want to foreclose yourself from those types of teams, because if I told you, hey, Davis, there's a 15% chance that you get CMC Barkley plus any one of Drake May, Bo Nix, or Jalen Hurts in the third, you're probably like, oh, I mean, yeah, I would like some of those in the portfolio. And so your worst case scenarios often with those, like I described earlier with the Jacob CMC thing, is like, all right, I didn't get any like the nutted quarterbacks that I wanted to come back for the really cool Super Bowls for me. 49ers a Super Bowl it is, baby. Like you still have this uncontested path. And that's 49ers, Jags, like that's what makes these teams, Packers even, that's what makes them so nice to draft, because they're just pretty uncontested. I would even say Seahawks kind of fall into this category where they're just mostly uncontested when you get a piece. And so you have this kind of safety net you can fall back to where you still have a decent Super Bowl outcome you can play for. The ones I really dislike, and it happens more often on DK with how hard it is to fill the starting roster, is you just end up with like a hodgepodge of shit. And it's like, I'm never even putting together a strong 6 out of 6 Super Bowl roster. I like maybe have a 4 out of 6 or 5 out of 6 at best. And most of this is just one-offs to advance me because I got sniped on the stuff that was good enough for me.
Now something, while you were saying that, talking about the uncontested stuff, because it is such a weird year, and like if someone disagrees with you or just doesn't agree with you on the Patriots stuff, like thinks the Patriots are more 2021 Titans than like this like big behemoth or whatever, I do think something that is very interesting is basically totally disregarding the sim at the top and being like, all right, I want 5 Jaguars and 5 Packers. So I'm starting my draft, ETN, Christian Watson, then I take Love, then I take Lawrence. Then I just like, basically like you just drafted an unowned team. You just drafted a team that like basically will not be duped.
That's honestly like probably one of the best ways to leverage the Sims, where you're saying, because what the Sims are really good at is when you have put them on a path that you want to follow, they will then tell you what the highest expected value decisions are to make at every turn on that path. If you're just letting them guide the whole way, they're like, hey, this is the best thing to do from the start because it leads into all the branches from here. The sum of all the EVs together is the best. And that's good. You do want to be having teams like that. But what you're describing, I think, is a really, really good way to leverage the Sims into things that you will want in your portfolio, where you're probably sacrificing a little bit of EV, by passing on some of the first round picks, but not, I don't think you're sacrificing so much that it's a thing that I would never want to do. I really, really like that. This spot that we're coming up in, by the way, is a great example of a difference between 1 of 6 versus 2 of 6. So you're sitting here like, oh, why don't the Sims want me to add Ramondre and Booty over Brian Thomas? And it's because Brian Thomas can help you get out of this first round. And if you do end up in a 49ers Super Bowl with the Patriots, you've already got the guy who scores all the points. You got Drake May, baby. And so that's kind of what it's looking at. I'm totally fine doing either here. For me, the way I'd personally make this decision of either Brian Thomas or doing both these Patriots guys is I'm looking at the room and seeing like, is anyone drafting anything really stupid? Is anyone dead with like Bengals players or whatnot? I I don't think so in this room. I think for the most part, people
everyone
are minding their P's and Q's.
Yeah, everyone's good here.
So yeah, I think Brian Thomas is good, and then you end up with one Patriot most likely here. Yeah.
Well, which is fine, right? Because
we have a ton of the combos covered in the 49ers Patriots Super Bowl. Going Ramondre and Booty is just to get extra greedy, where you're like, dude, if Patriots 49ers make the Super Bowl, I'm shipping the gauntlet, because no one has a combo that I wouldn't have. Like, and that's what the 5 of 5 or 5 and 5 builds, like you're describing, of I'm doing, 5 Jags and 5 Packers or what have you. That's what those accomplish for you, where it's like when that run out happens, if the cards turn over and you happen to get one of those 5 and 5 teams into the Super Bowl, like you don't even have to watch the Super Bowl. You're cashing your check, like start doing your tax planning, which is pretty fun.
And I mean, frankly, I like adding Ramondre here a lot because he's such an inconvenient truth. Like, gonna get 17 fantasy points in a game. Like, is anyone really that surprised if Ramondre Stevenson outscores Trevion Henderson in the playoffs? You just can't be.
Pat, when we were doing inputs for Patriots players in the Sims, Pat's like wanting to bury Ramondre. I'm like, I have some bad news for you, brother. We have to have Ramondre with a reasonable range of outcomes, because this guy could definitely be the one that falls in the end zone 2 times. So yeah, Ramondre is an inconvenient truth is a great way to describe him.
Yeah, it's sad, but it's the way I mean, that team is really good. I like that. This would be a structure I do a lot, where you basically, and sometimes I would even add like another 49er on this. Like, you could add Brian Robinson Jr. or whatever, but you have the 5 49ers. So like, even if the Patriots and the Jaguars die immediately, you can still advance. And theoretically, you're not going to sim well in the final, but you're like, you
would sim pretty well in the final. It depends on what AFC team makes it. Hypothetically, say that you show up against Chargers and it's a really crazy outcome. You show up against Chargers, you're probably simming pretty good. You show up even against Bills, it's like, yeah, you're missing Josh Allen and James Cook, but like CMC can pretty easily cover Cook. It's not so far-fetched to have Kittle outscore Cook. And so then you're really like, what you're actually looking for is like, all right, how many of these Josh Allen, James Cook teams have Kittle and CMC as well? It's like, not very many. They could squeeze Kittle in there, but as long as you have CMC Kittle in a 49ers Super Bowl, and the Sims are very aware of this and remind me of this all the time when I'm considering 49ers pieces. It's like, oh, you're very cute thinking that you're adding a 49ers piece to make money in a 49ers Super Bowl. That's not happening, idiot. You don't have CMC or George Kittle. Like, that's not a thing that's going on for you.
Oh, here's a theory question. Like let's say you came back from the future and you didn't know the Super Bowl matchup, but the Patriots and the Broncos are not there. You can assume they make the conference championship or not, but they don't make the Super Bowl. Would you just stone full fade them even for conference championship stuff, because they're not going to help you advance in round 1? Where like, even if the Jags lose round 1, they're still cheap advancement pieces.
That's a question that we can answer pretty easily with the Sims. I would say the best proxy to answer that right now is to look at teams like, let's see, like the Ravens, where they're not guaranteed to be dead, but they're just about. They're like 5% to make the conference championship. They're only 52% to make the playoffs. Where's a team? Or no, excuse me, they're way less than that. They're 25%. Apologies. Let's find someone with a higher odds. So, like Pittsburgh, I think, is a decent example. They're only, let's see, conference championship for Pittsburgh is, just about 10%. So anyone lower than that with good playoff odds? Like the Bucks. Okay, the Bucks are probably our best example. Bucks are about 70% to make the playoffs, only about 8% to make the conference championship. So that's close enough for our purposes to kind of like lab through, like, is it worth taking these players? And for the Bucks, you sometimes get Bucks players recommended, right? Like you'll get a Bucky Irving or you'll get a Emeka Egbuka recommended occasionally. You're not seeing them a ton as much anymore, but you might see them occasionally. And like Pittsburgh is another example. Like I have seen Jaylen Warren and DK Metcalf. So if they were, if you knew that Pats and Broncos don't make the Super Bowl and the prices remained as they were, so you're not getting access to the high projection pieces, then yeah, you probably just end up fading them. entirely. But if you had access to like higher projected pieces that went later, then you probably would not full fade them. They still can be valuable advance rate pieces. But yeah, I believe you would just end up full fading if you had the prior knowledge that those teams don't make the Super Bowl.
Windhorse meme on the Denver Broncos. Denver, God, if the Denver Broncos going to make the playoffs, let's do one more gauntlet, then we'll get out of here. I cannot fucking believe the Kansas City Chiefs are not making the postseason, dude. It's one of the most absurd things in my life.
There's so many things wrong with the decisions that they made this year. I mean, the not trading for Breece Hall thing feels pretty egregious now. That you're like, oh yeah, our offense is having all this trouble, and we gave Kareem Hunt like 30 carries in a game that we were trying to win.
They're dead last in explosive run rate each of the last 3 seasons, which is like, yes, it's taking running backs don't matter to like the nth degree, which is like, sure, running backs don't matter, but it does matter that you never get an unexpected explosive. Like you just are never getting a 44-yard touchdown out of thin air.
Yeah, I think what a lot of the best offenses have realized is that you need to be a little bit more agnostic in like between run and pass. Like people are so overly focused on the passing game is more efficient, and that's correct. You obviously should be passing more than you run the ball. But I think the bigger factor that you should be considering is like the number of explosives relative to your success rate. Like if we are not sacrificing very much in the way of success rate, we basically should be looking at the plays that generate explosives for us at the highest rate, right? And so I think that is the thing that the Chiefs really lacked this year, where you just didn't have any explosives anywhere because Xavier Worthy not doing explosive things. Something's really wrong with Mahomes' deep ball. Either that or it just
something is really wrong with his deep ball. My new operational theory is that he's injured his ankle too many times and that he can't push off of it correctly anymore, and he has not reworked his mechanics to deal with the change in his ground force. That's my new working theory.
I mean, God, twist my arm, make me draft CMC again, I guess. I wasn't paying close attention. Are we Gauntlet again or are we Mitten?
Gauntlet, yeah.
Okay, all right. So yeah, CMC and a Gauntlet, like, sure. I've even had times where CMC is like second overall for me. The Sims do enjoy CMC,
and they're right.
Yeah,
and they're right.
I mean, you want to talk about, your Discord spent the whole offseason talking about the Meteor. The Meteor like kind of came, but the Meteor, like for the most part, as far as what it did to best ball, like broke up in the atmosphere.
I wouldn't gotta take Adams here.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be so confident yet.
The Meteor, there's still pieces that could impact major
Jonathan Taylor is playing with Phillip Rivers this week, and Christian McCaffrey is playing the Titans. I'm
not calling him dead, but what I am saying is like maybe what we're seeing is like pieces of the Meteor that have broken off and entered the atmosphere early, and like they may cause large tidal waves because they themselves are just large pieces of Meteor, but the real mama Meteor may be behind, and it may enter the atmosphere just in time for playoff best ball, and Christian McCaffrey could just wipe the dinosaurs from the face of the earth. Okay, this guy taking Travion Henderson is actually pretty good for us. And Neil probably, God damn it, Neil is going to take Drake May here. I was really hopeful that we might be able to sneak Drake May onto this because that would be very fun. But I bet we get sniped here.
Sad. What's Neil doing? Neil didn't do a Best Ball Mania show today. He's not.
Oh,
all right. There we go.
Okay.
Party.
Yeah, because I mean, you think through like because he's using the sidekick too. What do the Sims want here? They want, ultimately they're going to be pretty happy to play it through either Packers or Seahawks. And so they don't necessarily need, when you think of like, what are your quarterback options from Neil's standpoint, they're pretty strong. And so you throw RJ Harvey on there, you just added another quarterback option. We're taking Drake May. It's like, I don't care that I have all this optionality left. Like I'm basically throwing my optionality out the window. I don't take advantage of it anymore. I mean, we just smashed Drake May here because he's not making it around the turn, even though George Kittle is the most valuable piece for us as far as our EV, because as we've discussed before on this show, you will not be making any money in a 49ers Super Bowl without CMC and George Kittle.
I think you could make money in a 49ers Super Bowl without Kittle. Kittle has bad games all the time, but not McCaffrey. I would
sure,
not
sure. It can happen. It's just probabilistically, it's not a thing you want to happen. You don't want to show up to the Super Bowl without Kittle, right? You're going to be a dog. And that's kind of like the big lesson for me in playoff basketball is lots of things can win, but you don't necessarily want to be putting yourself in the position where you're like, all I need is this crazy, thin outcome to happen, and then I win all the money. It's like, why don't we just do the thing that wins all the money at a much higher frequency? And what you end up trading is like, there are teams where you're just dead to win all the money, but you could still win a lot of money. Like hypothetically, say we take Kittle there and we don't get May around the turn, which is very likely to happen. We still could build some banger 49ers teams that actually could win all the money, right? So we're not even foreclosed from that. We're just foreclosed from probably winning all the money when the Patriots and 49ers go to, you think of your pie slices that we're having. We had the whole 49ers pie, but then when Drake May goes off the board, we like lose a sliver, not even the full Patriots pie, because we still could be like, hey, Brock Purdy's in the Super Bowl and we have other Patriots pieces that make it and it's fine. And Drake May doesn't outscore Purdy by enough to matter. But, you lose a slice of that pie when you lose May, but you still have access to the whole 49ers pie, which is pretty good.
Yeah. And I would basically say like Jennings can outscore Kittle any given day. I mean, he's already done it like 4 times or whatever this season.
You just have to think through it's not the one player outscoring them. It's the players in combination, where how many rosters are really only going to have one of those two. If you're getting 49ers rosters to the Super Bowl, so many of them have both. They've got not just Kittle and CMC, but they also have Jennings. And that's why it's about like, hey, you got it for the high projected pieces, especially on teams where like there's not a ton of, like on the Broncos, if I miss out on Cortland Sutton, I don't particularly care because little Jordan Humphrey might be scoring points. Sean Payton just might be doing unfathomable shit to us by the time the Super Bowl rolls around. But on teams like the Bills and the 49ers, where it's like, dude, these are very clearly the projected pieces, the best projected pieces, I care a lot more about it.
I was kind of interested in maybe taking Sutton there as like a one-off piece with the 49ers, because you could definitely see 4 49ers plus Sutton being optimal in a 49ers Broncos Super Bowl pretty clearly. But
yeah, I think why we're not as excited about Sutton here is just you're kind of like forking yourself, where Patriots and Broncos, between the two of them, should get a bye. It's going to be hard to advance with the number of bye pieces that you have, because we have Adams already, who's likely to get a bye, and then we have May, who's likely to get a bye. So you get Sutton, and you're like, all right, now I'm guaranteed that one of these two pieces between May and Sutton has a bye. And this is 1 of 6, so it's just like less stoked about making that guarantee. I feel like Ricky Pearsall is infinitely pushable, by the way. Like I basically never take him as top guy when he pops up.
No one takes
I will have Ricky Pearsall. I will just have him later. And Hampton is the advanced piece that we need right now. So that's beautiful.
Every time I take a Chargers, like a little part of my soul dies. I mean, he's definitely a good pick, but it doesn't make me. I cannot fucking believe the Eagles.
Well, because did someone take ETN really early? Yeah, that's what happened. Yeah. So that's how you get into the Hampton, expanded.
I have noticed. I don't know if this person is doing this, but sometimes you will be drafting with the sidekick on a stream, and what someone will do is they will infer from the sidekick what they should be doing. They're like, oh, the sidekick is at the top there. I have this team shared or whatever with the person drafting with it, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the sidekick recommend. Or I watched the last stream. I saw that the sidekick had ETN really high, so I'm going to take ETN really high. What Adams is doing on this team is he is giving us 2 banger scores.
He's scoring 2 touchdowns a week for 2 weeks in a row, and you are not making it without Javonte Adams. So yeah, I really, that's another thing where, and you can look historically at the Fields' behavior. If you go download the historical playoff best ball data, you can see people are less, the field is less prone to taking an early piece and then treating it like an advanced rate piece. Like so many people have it in their brain where it's like, dude, I took this player in the first round or the second round. He has to go to the Super Bowl. It's like, no, he doesn't. Like you just need enough projection in the Super Bowls that you end up building for. That's relative to what you could face. You just need enough projection. And so that's really the whole game. So it is fine to sacrifice some of those early pieces, and getting a piece like Adams does give us more optionality. Really dislike that this guy's taking a Ramondre Stevenson, Kayshon Boutte. I mean, it's fine. We're basically just playing, Drake May is the only score that matters.
I was going to say, I wondered if it would give us another AFC team, and it's giving us Ravens now, which I am totally fine saying they find a way. Lamar's back, and we end up with the 49ers.
I guess, yeah, because really it's going to come down to their game with Pittsburgh, right, where they just have to beat the Steelers again, which, like, I can totally see the Steelers imploding.
And you know what? If the Steelers win and whatever, like, they get in, it's like, well, at least I know the Ravens are way more likely to score fantasy points in an eventuality where they get there. Whereas, like, the Steelers, it's pretty hard for them to have a Ladd McConkey just because of how they play.
Yeah, and then you go Zay Flowers. And so the Sims here are basically like, hey, dude, it's hard enough to advance anyway for you from this pod because it's 1 of 6, and we just need more points. And it's like, you might as well just take guys that if they made it into the playoffs, they'd score a lot of points. Like no need taking people that don't project for anything. You've already got Jawan Jennings, Ricky Pearsall, so you need a guy where if they do play, they can crack your lineup. And then if they do play, and they happen to make a run, like you're very happy to have them in the Super Bowl. So there's I just wouldn't get to spots like this historically where it's like, dude, the Ravens are basically dead. Like, why am I doing this? But this is one where I think it makes sense to me. And I don't think you'd see this in a 2 of 6, right? In a 2 of 6, you're probably tacking on random Patriots. You're like getting a Mac Hollins in here, or I don't know, Hunter Henry's gone. So yeah, you probably throw like a random Mac Hollins in here. And call it a day. But yeah, in the 1 of 6, that potential for like really high extra points in round 1 is pretty valuable.
Yeah. All right, man, let's get out of here. Is there any specific promo code or promotion or anything going on with Sidekick right now?
No promo code. You can, so if you get the Sidekick right now and you get annual, there's basically 10 months of time where you would be getting lots of value out of the Sidekick. There's 2 months if you do the annual subscription where there's just not a lot to draft, right? Like in October, there's not really anything to draft in October. And then in February, there's part of February where there's not a ton to draft. But I mean, you're getting, or really it's January. Now with February, we have, so you get like a week out of January and then you miss a week in February. But basically you can get 10 months of Sidekick. So if you're doing the monthly calculations, you do the annual, you're basically paying $50 a month for the Sidekick as far as like the effective months you get to use it. Or if you're like, hey, I'm not going to use the Sidekick for regular season best ball. I don't know that I'll do a ton of volume, but I really like this playoff best ball stuff. And I can see that the edge is very large there. The Sidekick is just $200 a month for playoff best ball. Honestly, that's probably too cheap. Pat is just a good-hearted person, and he's like,
he's a magnanimous guy.
I don't know that we can make it more than 200, and so he's keeping it cheap.
That's a good Karain. That's a good Karain right there.
But yeah, go head on over to legendaryupside.com. Check out the Sidekick. We'll have more content. Pat and I will be putting out more streams, more written content as we get deeper into playoff best ball season. But yeah, it's the most wonderful time of the year.
It sure is. All right, everyone. Make sure you like the video. Make sure you subscribe for daily fantasy football videos. And I'll be back with all you guys